You'd have that music ready to go right there. More short. We're on, Rip.
On.
Hell yeah,
Hell, at least we're waking up to Starcade.
That's right.
That's one of the good things.
Starcade, baby.
This is the best song I've heard today so far.
I've heard 9 or 10 better than this one today.
Oh,
I'm kidding. I don't know. I mean, it was like this. It was shorter last week than it is this week.
Well, I guess
My beard is.
I guess if you hadn't trimmed it, I guess it would have been shorter last week than this week.
Well, I mean, I trimmed it before last week, is what I'm saying, and you didn't notice, or maybe even 2 weeks ago. All right, I got to try to find our banner back there. Talk to the people out there, Rip, while I try to do some production stuff.
Okay, talk to the people about all the things that's happening in the world of professional wrestling.
Yeah, just tell them Tell them what you've been up to or something. Come on, tell them
what I've been up to. Oh hell, I had
pull some time.
Got
here.
up today, and there's snow all outside.
Yeah, there you go.
So I got the gimmick foot that's all messed up with the open toes and everything. So first thing I do is I go out and I get my foot frozen. Then I walk out to my car and I got to wipe everything off because there's snow everywhere. I open the back seat door and there's snow in the car, and I don't know how that got in there, but it ain't the first time and it ain't going to be the last. So then I'll go to the long trip over here. It should take me about a half hour or something. It took me about 3 times that, because as soon as I got on 465, there was a big wreck. Some hillbilly did something, and the coppers are everybody directing this and that, and it was back to back to back to back to back to back to back, because there was no profanity, and I had to pee and I had to poop, and I looked down my gas gauge, and all of a sudden I can't see because the light in the car don't work. And it looked like it was empty, but I guess it was empty because I did make it in, got some gas, got here on time. Lilas was busy struggling, but he was in such a good mood. He got me the coffee. He got me the diet Pepsi. He got me the Gatorade. And after bitching about me for emeritus for eating on the show, he says, "Oh, do you want a cookie?" So I'm sitting there going, "Oh, he's trying to set me up with this and that." But I said, "Oh no, I'll just eat the cookie." So what did I do before we got on? I ate the cookie.
Yeah, you're learning, Rip.
I'm learning that.
All that we had like a half inch of snow here. All that big snow story Rip just told, it barely covered the ground today.
Well, that was at your place maybe, but at my place it was like that. When your toes come out of your shoes and you're frozen and everything, it's a little bit different story.
I'm just kidding. We might have had an inch and a half, maybe somewhere in there.
That was sort of pecker deep, wasn't it?
Wasn't a ton, but hey, last night when I was getting this show ready, medium Buckshot Kid was in the chat last night. So BSK was up late night checking us out. Early today, we got Medium 5 in the house in green. George Jetson in the house. Opinion Haver in green in the house.
Shit, the 3-hour time difference too. So he's probably up giving himself a J. Arthur, a wank, whatever.
Hey, we got another guy from, I believe he's in California right now on the show today. So, of course, they know each other. And Opinion Haver said the entire state of California told me to tell you guys hi.
All right, both of them.
Dark Side Caster in the house. Clayton in green, baby.
Oh, Clayton's over with me. He says,
in green in the house.
Gentlemen, wrestling is dopamine. Sup, guys? Sup? Yeah, you need.
Look at this, Big Al Gentleman. Look what he also did.
Shit, he got the super sticker.
Got the $1.99 super sticker.
It don't get any better than the super
to get this show started off on the right foot.
Big Al.
Thanks, Big Al.
With his traditional gentleman.
There's Buckshot Kid. He's still awake in the chat.
Yeah, it's 11:04, so he had to come on a little bit late today, but he probably had to take that last piss before he sat down to listen to all this shit.
You know, I've been giving him shout outs when they're in green in here. Look at this thing I got, Rip. I sent that to you last night. Wrestling is like stripping after the ad. Look at that. Look at a nice picture of you and that nice girl there.
Well, you know, I like him a little bit darker.
Well, I know,
but what the hell? She was well she was well tan, you know. So
what I put together here for our members. Our members. If you're not a member of the Wrestling with Rip Rogers show, go right there where you subscribe. There's a little membership thing. Click on that thing. Be a hustler. Be an original. Be whatever you want. I haven't put much out for him, but I want to give him some recognition today. Look over here on the left, Rip. Leading the pack.
Opinion Haver.
and Michael Costello are
At
tied.
15 months.
15 months.
I guess if they keep on going, they could be like tied emeritus. Next month would be 16 and then 17 and stuff like that.
Yeah, you can count, Rip. That's good. Greg Smith, Frank's Pickle Barrel Ass, a medium 5 all tied there at 12 months.
Medium 5, he's sort of like a MVP because he's a dirty bastard.
He's a dirty bastard.
Which I like, you know that.
I mean, you could give him the MVP. I mean, he does participate a lot, but it's hard to top our number one spots up there. Poffo Maniac, Sean McAllister, both tied 11 months. I think that's Starcade right there at 10 months. One of the members of Starcade. Jeff G in there at 7 months. Heavy D in the house. Clayton, Brian K, Whitewater 1281, John Tucker, and Drew Scholl. I think I'm saying that right. All in there at 5 months, Rip. Pretty impressive.
Well, this is Von Lilas Enterprises. So.
And I got another list here. Your son-in-law, Rory Fox, in there at 4 months with James Orr and Casey Shearer. Marv Nickel, Migrating Coconuts at 3 months. And then we got some new people. I don't know if we've ever put these guys over here. Anthony D, 29 days. Captain Bender, 28 days. Jason, oh, yeah, we did talk about him. You remember how to say that name? One of them was silent. Cax, isn't the T silent?
One of them
or
silent.
Tax. Yeah, Tax. A K silent.
Like
maybe.
TAX.
One of them silent.
Like Trax, I guess.
Randy Harris new at 9 days. And then you take a stab at that one, Rip.
Frederick By.
Frederick By, you did that real nice and easy.
Yeah, well, they said, well, they got the E with the thing over it, and another one with a bunch of things over. I said, well, hell, I ain't putting none of them over, so I'm not going to do the other one either.
Brand new member there. So give a little round of applause to all the members there, Rip.
Okay. All the top stars.
All the top stars here at Wrestling with Rip Rogers. Opinion Haber says, I do the J. Arthur after the show. I like younger and more attractive men. Yeah.
Who said that?
Opinion Haber. You just said he was up early giving himself a J. Arthur.
As long as they got long, skinny fingers and not short, stumpy, fat ones, and shave the hair on your fingers, and that's always a plus.
Wrestling is Dopamine is from Mountain Home, Arkansas. How about that?
I think that's right down the road from Grabber Snatch.
I like that.
Ladies and gentlemen, Grabber Snatch, Arkansas.
Be here all day. Rip will be here all day. Buckshot Kid, remember he was gifted. He was gifted that membership. His gift ran out, so he quit doing it. He's over here defending himself that his membership just ended. It was free anyway, Buckshot Kid. It just ended. My free membership just ended.
Hey, we ought to be giving Buckshot Kid a free membership, and if we were successful, I guess we would, because he's like the hardest working man here. I mean, he's like the most.
You think?
I think he
no
is. I think
way.
He's like MVP. I mean,
no way.
Well, he's not. You're doing all the work, but he's the MVP on.
No.
He looks up shit all the time, don't he?
He only watches TNA, I think. Hey, as a matter of fact, Buckshot Kid, I got some stuff for you today. Hang around here a little bit. We'll get it on. I got some TNA news for you today. And today at noon, Rip, right there, Rico Costantino.
When Marcus was a baby, he'd go, Rico Costantino.
Rico, nice. Costantino, going to be on here, right here, Wrestling with Rip Rogers at noon today. Don't want to miss that.
Noon Eastern Standard. Don't wait for Western Standard or whatever. But Eastern
I think
Standard
he's in
time.
LA. He's probably at Opinion Haber's house right now because it's such a small.
Well, they're from California, so
small
they know each
area
other.
there. Yes.
They know each other and they know where everybody lives too.
Probably roommates.
Probably.
So what's been up, Rip? Got any good stuff happening this week?
Let me see. Let's see. Dylan got back from the Dave Marquez thing, and then he's got a big show tonight. I got a meeting in. Supposed to have a meeting tomorrow about the.
Come on, Rip. You gotta give us some. You're talking to the people here. Come on, you gotta raise that voice a little bit. Meeting tomorrow. Who with? A little excitement today.
Oh, I'll wait until I have it, and then I can announce what happened the next week.
Well, come on.
Well, there's a new potential wrestling school.
Oh, nice.
And they've been looking at 3 or 4 different buildings, and one of them was right by my house.
Oh, shit.
And then they decided not against that one.
They decided against it.
Yeah. But I'll find out more tomorrow. I'm supposed to go to Danville, Indiana, and help them look at the building like I know anything.
Yeah, that looks like a good building. I mean, you were at
Yeah.
OVW in Jeffersonville. I mean, if it has walls and a roof, I guess.
Yeah, I was
What-
I was training Lucky and Steele on the floor at Crossroads Gym when there wasn't no people in there, and just slam them on the floor or whatever, right? So hey, it ain't that hard.
What are you going to tell them about the building? I mean, you were a building inspector at one time, right?
I was assistant, so I didn't really have all the pull.
So Danville, what's that from your house? That's
It's too far.
is it? Well, just
Yeah.
tell them I hate that building then.
Well, they got all the money people. They all want to talk this and that, and
You have to tell me off the air. You gotta give me some inside info on this.
well, I was gonna.
Do I know any of these people?
I don't know.
Yeah. Why didn't you tell them that you loved the building that was by your house?
I did,
Oh, yeah.
but
the
they're-
greatest building ever. That's the
yeah.
greatest building I've ever seen.
Yeah,
It's-
but they're also real businessmen. So when you're looking at the budget and say the other one's a whole lot cheaper,
Mm.
and they're wanting to do stuff with a wrestling school, and then you can make it a banquet hall, or like if you had wedding receptions and shit like that. It's
Multiple
a
things.
multi-purpose thing.
Would the ring get to stay up in that building though? Is it like separate rooms at least? Like
I
you wouldn't
guess
have to.
I won't find out till tomorrow if I go.
Now, is Dylan going to the ring thing with you, or does he have a match tomorrow, or is it all incorporated the same?
Let's see. Dylan's working tonight at the WCWO match,
Oh, tonight. I thought you
Yeah.
said tomorrow. Tonight.
and then I don't know what he's got tomorrow, but
All right. Well, we got some potential Rip Rogers getting back in training. We'll see. Maybe we'll report good news next week right here.
could be the greatest ever.
Could be the greatest ever.
Or then again, it could not be worth a shit, right? Who knows?
Buckshot Kid said I mostly pushed you guys to go live. He probably meant on YouTube. Yeah, thanks, man. You did. You're right. You did. So did some other people, but yeah, we'll give you the shout out, Buckshot Kid. Don't get mad now. Don't get hot. Rip said you're number one, man.
Yeah.
Just because I didn't put you at number one, you don't have to get hot now.
Well, he was tied for number one, right?
Oh, no, not on the thing.
Oh, okay.
He's not even a member. How's he tied for number one?
Just because he's over.
He's not even a member.
He's BSK.
Well, he's not a member. He can't be. But listen, we got some TNA news, Rip. I don't know if you've been keeping up with TNA or not.
I got a lot of buddies in TNA.
Yeah, well, number one, Gail Kim is making a comeback in the ring, so
well, good for her.
she's going to be coming back in the ring in TNA. Number two, I must have lost the picture. What happened to that picture? It's just gone. Well, anyway, number two is Dana Brooke, who is now somebody else. You probably don't even know Dana Brooke, but Dana Brooke was in WWE forever. She got a new gimmick. She is now in TNA. And number three, the big surprise of the night, I think it was a week or two ago, and I don't know if he signed a long-term deal or not, but Dolph Ziggler is now Nick Nemeth in TNA, and he went right after nose-to-nose Moose, the TNA champion. Maybe go ahead.
Quinn. Yeah, that's his real name.
Who, Moose?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because he worked with Dave under a different name, I think it was Okanakwa or whatever his real name is.
Quinn Okanakwa.
Yeah, he jacked.
Yeah. Dolph Ziggler, Buckshot Kid. Did Dolph Ziggler sign a long-term deal? Do you know, or what's he? What's he doing there? Somebody tell me. I was just pointing out that's the only thing I really did. Okay, you're fine, man. Opinion Haver said, Lilas, do you want to come on the TNA show? No, I don't even know how to watch it. That's what I was going to ask. I don't even know. Do you know how to watch it, Rip? What channel it's on?
It's on some funny channel.
A funny channel.
Yeah, I mean, it's
like
not,
Comedy Central? That's pretty funny.
Axis. I think it's Axis or whatever. But
I can just turn it on and watch it I thought it was like you had to pay for it now or something.
I don't know.
AXS TV
See,
opinion.
Access,
Hey,
yeah.
you have to pay for that, or can I just get it on?
Well, but if you know Opinion Haver, you ought to have all those brownie points.
Like if I have YouTube TV, can I watch it? I guess would be my question. Or do I have to pay for it? Buckshot Kid says nobody does long-term deals except for Moose. Okay. Hey, we got our first question here for Rip today.
Drum roll.
I looked up Rip's physique from his prime. What was your diet at your peak?
I just ate the way you're supposed to. I just ate clean.
What's that mean? Explain.
I didn't eat any red meat for about 3 years. And I didn't eat any sugar for about 3 years. So, I mean, like breakfast would be, it was the same old shit. I would have a whole shitload of egg whites and like chicken breast and whole wheat dried toast. I'd eat that for breakfast every day. Like when I go on a trip, I go to Kroger's and get like a pound of turkey breast to take with me. And then I get like 2 peaches, 2 oranges, 2 apples, 2 pears, 2 bananas, just for your carbohydrates and everything. And I ate basically the same shit like that for years and years. And I got in 12 contests clean in 18 months, which is impossible, and wrestled every day. So it didn't take any more effort. It didn't take any more time. My training was just the same old shit as that I always did. But eating right and all the cardio I did was what is. I'd usually compete in 172 to 177 pounds.
Wow.
And when I did that, I looked like I weighed 220. Because then you saw how big my head looked, and no, I was tiny, but I looked better. But then I'd eat normal, and then I'd be about 212 again.
Yeah, I posted a picture of myself with the OVW title on Facebook.
You look really good
the other day, and somebody was like, how much did you weigh there? You were jacked. I was like, I weighed 15 pounds less. Well, actually, at the time, I just lost about 10 pounds. It was about 23, 24 pounds less like than I do now.
Yeah,
I was like, I actually only weighed like 225.
But it's the illusion of looking big.
Yeah. People just assume, I think, that you weigh more when you're looking good, but cut up, I guess.
Yeah, somebody said, what were you on, man? I said, I weighed 172 and a half pounds. What the hell do you think I was on? Yeah. I was barely on food. Hey, it's hard to look good. Going to bed, I'd make myself go to bed hungry every night.
Oh, yeah, it sucks.
And right before I go to bed, I do 10 sets of front raises for your shoulders, 10 sets of bent raises for your outer deltoids, and I do an extra 2,000 knee pull-ins just to fucking do it. So I wasn't gonna let nobody outwork me. Fuck you, motherfuckers.
I saw somebody just say the other day, it's hard to, basically what you said, look good, and hard to be healthy, but it's also hard then to be unhealthy. You got to keep that in mind.
Right.
Hard to be unhealthy. Opinion Haver said, access just another channel your provider may or may not carry. Watch it on kayfabe sites. He cheats. He steals. It sounds like he's a stealer.
Who's that, Opinion Haver?
Yeah.
No, we can't have him a representative of.
Yeah, we should
kick
him out of the chat.
But he is the army of two.
But
he's the army of one now. So he probably had to get rid of Zeus because Zeus was holding him back. That was it. So Opinion Haver, you got to watch him. Hell, he's with Ben Hameen, so he's suspect.
Oh yeah,
he's suspect. So any girl 6 to 60 blind, crippled, or crazy, Opinion Haver's probably tapping that shit.
Yeah, probably so. Michael Hipfield said, "Get the likes up." All right, well then go like this shit. Hey, everybody, go like our go like our stuff right now. Like this video right now. Share it, like it, smash it, all that good stuff. And while you're at it, we didn't sell any T-shirts this week, Rip. ProWrestlingTees.com.
Shit, I was hoping to eat this week.
You got the Hustler shirt. Rip's hoping to eat this week. You got the Hustler shirt, the show shirt. You got all kinds of other shirts. Fanny pack shirt.
Oh, my fanny pack's busting out too, so my keys are falling out. Oh, Memories,
Biggest
baby.
fanny pack I've ever seen. And if you know how to read, any of you guys know how to read out there, Rip's book on pro wrestling. Go grab it right
It's
there
got pictures in it too, so if you can't read, it's okay.
on Amazon.com. And don't forget, here coming up at 12, we got Rico Costantino on here. Rip, did you watch any AEW here lately?
No, but I've seen clips that off my phone, but I've never. Oh,
have you seen any of the talk about the Samoa Joe Hook match by chance?
Yeah. Oh my God.
So you have some info on that. Then it sounds like.
Well, here we got Samoa Joe, and he's been around. It ain't his first county fair. And here's Hook, a second generation wrestler. Looks like he weighs about 170 pounds.
Maybe.
Well, what the hell, right?
Yeah.
And then Tony's getting all upset because his guy was 28-1 or something like that. And he gets a title match. But Jinder Mahal, he was getting a title match with WWE, right? And he was complaining that Jinder Mahal has lost a bunch of matches or whatever. Well, Tony, you do your thing and let them do theirs. And the fans are the ones that can decide everything. I mean, it's like, hey, let's get real. Years ago in pro boxing, etc., guys would go out there and have a bunch of phony fights to get a record built up. They would fight some of the same opponents up to 4 times with different names and stuff like that. So you can create any kind of record you want. So if you put Hook over 28 in a row, well, that's great. But then he worked against, then he wrestles Samoan and he gets killed. Yeah, and he should have.
No. I mean, did you see the match? So there has been a match already.
Yeah.
Okay, so my understanding, the clips I saw, he kicked out of everything.
He
that's where I was going with this.
Okay,
remember we had the pre-production meeting before you got here.
Yeah, he kicked
went
out.
Through
he kicked out of
the finish.
He kicked out of the fucking finish.
Yeah.
Now, if he was Warlord or
Wardlow,
Wardlow or something like that, that would be believable. But then he hits him with the second one, and he would lose. But to have this 170-pound rookie kid go out there and kick out of his muscle buster, that ain't good. That ain't good.
So
but it's your company, Tony, and you're Booker of the Year, so you can do whatever the hell you want to. But it's he would have got as a smaller rookie babyface fighting a known star. He's the ultimate babyface, the underdog, fighting from underneath. Now, it's one thing to get a foot. He could have got a foot on the rope. You say, oh, well, he's a babyface. He don't need to do that. Well, it's desperate times or he was going to lose. But him kicking out of, and he kicked out of, and I heard he kicked out of, I
think he kicked out of other shit too. I haven't watched it yet.
He kicked out of, but me, see, I would know if I ain't going to cover you unless it's a finish. Forget it. I'm just going to knock the shit out of you, drop elbows, and taunt you to get up and whatever, knock you back fucking down, rip you up by the goddamn hair and stuff like that, or act like you shoved me off or pushed me out or whatever. But as far as him kicking out of the Muscle Buster, if it was my company, but it's not, hell no. But the fans would love him because here he was, this young guy going up against this national star. He gave it his best. Shit, if they would have carted him out after that muscle bust, they could have had a standing ovation that this guy went out there and did his best and he got his ass beat. But hey, that's how you get over.
So I think the argument on the other side is people are always saying the argument is, oh, you want him to build stars and new people and this and that, but now you get mad when they give Hook, all this stuff. So you're saying they could build him without having him kick out of the finish, is what you're saying?
Oh yeah, I remember how Tommy Rich got over. Abdullah kept beating him, 30 seconds, 50 seconds, 90 seconds. He would never give up. Finally, about the fourth time, and this is when Ole was booking in Atlanta. Tommy Rich kicked the shit out of fucking Abdullah, and Abdullah just fucked off and ran away from Tommy Rich.
Oh yeah.
And this is after like Tommy got beat on nationwide television like 3 times in a row. Wasn't even competitive. You can create your own storylines. Be different, be unique, but make them make sense.
Got it. Thanks, Rip. Got a little AEW segment out of you there.
Okay.
Hey, look what happened.
Wait a minute.
What's that?
I love AEW.
I know, but you did. I mean, you usually talk about it.
You know, I talked to Nick Wayne on the phone last night.
Yeah.
Yeah. Told him how good he was doing. Realizing that guys hate him because he's 18 years old. He's getting a big push.
What if guys really like him though? Like it seems like Christian likes him in real life.
Well, you can't believe anything with the character. Look at you. You're ribbing me all the time, and I don't even know it.
I just think you assume a lot of times everybody hates you. I don't think it's really like that anymore. I think everybody just buddies, plays video games together, and hangs out.
No,
No.
Guys are so fucking jealous, and girls are even worse.
Thing is, in AEW, though, he doesn't fire anybody. So even if you don't have like the spot, you're still getting paid, and I don't know. Hey, look at this, Rip. We guilted him in, or maybe I did. I won't throw you under the bus. Guilted Buckshot Kid into paying for a membership. He is now a member.
All right. He's a new member.
He's a new member.
He's a new member. It don't get any better than
smile.
that.
You just brought the Rip's face. Now you're going to be number 1 for sure. Buckshot Kid.
Well, he was already number 1 emeritus. It doesn't matter because whenever we fuck up, he's usually telling us that we fucked up. And hell, I don't know if I fuck up. I just start fucking talking. And if I say something, I can't remember it anyway.
Bisfeck said he saw Romer make a post about Rip playing for the Washington Generals versus the Globetrotters. You want to tell the Globetrotter story, Rip?
Well, there's a couple Globetrotter stories, but this will all fit in. Years ago, the Globetrotters come to Indianapolis, so me and Romer was hanging out or whatever. So there was a picture with me and Romer and Curly Neal. Now, years ago, I guarded Curly Neal. Years ago, from Seymour, Richard Groh was from Seymour, Indiana, and he played with the Washington Generals. And was a referee about 10 years. So that when the Globetrotters, when I was going, let's see, the Globetrotters actually come to Seymour. And they closed the door. They had so many people there. And Richard Groh from Seymour, he had dropped out of college. He was at Casper Junior College, and he went down to Samford University. And he knew Alvin Basketball Jones that was on the Generals. So he got him a job. Just like wrestling, it's all who you know. So Louis Red Klotz was the coach emeritus of the Washington Generals. So whenever the Trotters would play the Generals, it would be like, let's see, like in Kokomo, let's see, I did something in Lexington, then we did it in Louisville, Indianapolis, and Cincinnati. Dr. Groh, Richard Groh, he would get guys from Seymour. Max Siefker played in Kokomo. Wow. Stiffy Owens played. Al Sloan played. I played. I can't remember who else did. Kerry Hammett played. All with on the Washington Generals, and I got to guard Curly. And like and I was on TV as a wrestling star when they were in Lexington.
Yeah.
So Robert Babyface Page was the 7'2" center. So I was sort of bullying Curly. So Robert Babyface Page come out with a big old boxing glove, and he hit me with the boxing glove, and I took the big bump, and they carried me out.
Oh, really? Right
Yeah.
during the game?
Yeah.
That's awesome. Now, was that in Seymour or Lexington?
No, this was in Lexington.
Oh, wow.
So somebody asked me about it, but they didn't take it. It was a big deal to even get your picture taken in. Yeah. Now they got the cell phones, you got videos of everything. But it's like the Globetrotters played pretty much every day of the year, and the Globetrotters, they ran around. They would go to towns in the big scenic cruiser. They'd have their family with them. They were treated like kings, and the Washington Generals like it would have been one of Stu Hart's vans going to the town,
Really?
with the tape on the doors and the Fred Flintstone's feet stopping to put the brakes and everything. So,
But you actually played though. Did you play
Yeah.
in the game?
uh-huh.
Did you actually like shoot or score or dribble or get the ball?
Yeah.
How long were you in the game? Very long?
Nah. No, I was strictly a gimmick, because like when I was in there in Lexington, everybody knew who I was.
But what about like in Seymour, in your hometown?
No, I was in the stands.
Oh, I thought you said you played there.
No.
Did you only play the one time in Lexington?
Yeah.
So then in Seymour, you just went and hung out and met him and stuff. Or
Yeah.
Okay.
So that was unbelievable. See, they had about 10,000 people put in the Seymour show, because it seated like 8,500 or something, and they were in all the places where you weren't supposed to be, and people were standing. And I can't remember, it's the JCs or whatever that sponsored it, but what a killing that was, and what a great time it was. But anyway, so Curly remembered me when we back to that picture.
Yeah.
And he said, "Grows, buddy."
Oh, yeah.
I said, "Yeah, Curly, how's it going? This and that, blah blah blah." He goes, "You look different." I said, "I ain't got a beard, you know." But yeah, Curly Neal, he was cool, great PR guy. And Dr. Richard Grow. I remember one night in Cincinnati, I was sitting on the bench and I was dressed and everything, but the fucking Generals were on fire. Grow could not miss. Now, when you're playing against the Globetrotters, they have, like, instead of high spots, they're called reams.
Oh,
So
really?
it'd be like the first bucket of the quarter is a setup.
Yeah.
The last one is a setup. So you're basically giving them 16 points.
Yeah.
And after that, it's pretty much legit. Now, what it is, the Generals are supposed to just play hard, not complain, go along with the reams and everything. Yeah. And then, but a lot of times, and a lot of the guys that would be on the Generals, they'd play 3 or 4 years, then they get moved up to the Trotters when somebody would retire. So they knew what it was on both ends of the stick, was what it was. But them guys would get competitive.
So you sat on the bench the whole time? The coach never put you in?
Well, I didn't want him to put me in.
So did he ever look down and be like, Rogers, no. Who the hell's that guy?
Oh, I don't.
Like, you meet the coach?
No, hear what I would do. I would go, red, I'm ready. It was a rib though, right? He'd look up and he'd milk it with the crowd, right? He'd look left, look right, and he'd go, not yet. And I'm
did you just meet him there that night though? Like, first time, hey, I'm going to be on the Generals. I'm a pro wrestler.
The first night, I think it was in Seymour, because I was with Grow, with Richard Grow. So, and like in wrestling, it's everything is all who you know.
Yeah.
And it's another one of them things.
I get that. I just didn't know if you'd like talk to the coach or.
Oh, yeah, because he loved it.
He
loved it because I knew who he was and everything.
Yeah.
Lewis Red Clots.
Look at that, Dylan Bostic, your favorite son, said he liked our video.
He liked.
I'll tell you
what video was it?
This one that we're doing right now.
Oh. I probably, because I plugged him about working that show for Dave Marquez and him being the star on the TV show and whatever, and flying him out like a big shot, etc.
Or it could be just because he's your favorite son. That could be it too. Jeff Gillis said, Rip, what was the John Cougar Mellencamp music video you were in? I think you were in 2 of them.
I was in 2 of them. One of them was Human Wheels. That's when I was posing. And then one of them was Cherry Bomb. And then the Cherry Bomb, all I was doing was they had some homemade footage, and I was throwing a snowball at the fucking camera or whatever like that.
So you were a kid in that one. So
yeah,
nobody would probably know it was
right.
You. But the one you were actually like posing in was Human Wheels, right? Is that what you said?
Yeah. It was Human Wheels, and I was what it was I was working out at the Crossroads Gym in Seymour. I'm surprised you wasn't there. And Richard Mellencamp, John Mellencamp's dad, come into the gym. They needed some weights for them guys to warm up and to show some little stuff in the video. So he says, Mark, you want to be in this video? I said, what the hell is it? He says, well, we're out there by Greg Ashcraft's old house. And he said, come on out there and I'll talk and see what John says. So John says, hey, Shirey, what's up? I said, hey, John. He says, he goes, you want to be in my video? I said, fuck, you got to pay me. He goes, what? I said, you got to fucking pay me. What the fuck? I said, I'm on fucking nationwide television every week. I don't need your fucking ass. Oh, he loved that. He says, he told his dad, he said, give him $50 in a buffet. I said, what you want me to do? He goes, well, hell, I'm hoping you'd know what to do. I said, you're right. I do. I just jumped up and started posing, right? And it took me about probably 45 seconds. And I said, okay, chop that son bitch and put it in your video however you want to. He goes, don't tell me how to do my thing. I said, well, fuck, I was hoping you'd have enough brains, but if not, I'd cover for you, you know. So that was that.
I just think it's wild. You and Mellencamp went to high school together.
Well, I put some pictures up on a lot of times on Facebook or whatever the fuck, where he was
Football.
Yeah, football his senior year, and John went out there and I always ribbed him about he'd always have the cigarettes in his because he was like
John Travolta in Grease.
Yes, exactly. That's exactly what it was. Because John was one of those guys. He was like one of the coolest guys, and he was a smaller guy, and he was a smart aleck, which was awesome. But his brother Ted was that way, and his brother Joe was a good athlete at Seymour, and his uncle Joe was one of the badasses of Seymour, Indiana, and I was in awe of Joe Mellencamp. But anyway, I don't know how we got
so
there.
John, did you ever, I mean, I saw, you said once you'd seen him like at an IU game or something, and he slapped you on the back or something like that, but you just never really kept in touch? Like, you guys weren't like good friends, right, in high school?
No, seniors didn't hang out with the sophomores.
Yeah. Right.
You know. But I mean, yeah, I was at the IU game. All of a sudden he slapped me. He called me Shirey. Hey, Shirey. I said, you little motherfucker. Because I remember I had a pink sweater on, just like the color of your shirt on right now. So I went after that little motherfucker. He goes, Shirey, leave me alone. And he had all of his henchmen with him. He had a lot of muscle guys with him, you know.
I could just see you and your bleach blonde hair and your pink sweatshirt and your beard going after the home. Well, he acts like Bloomington's his hometown. The hometown John Mellencamp at the IU game.
I remember at the IU game of seeing the videos. I was actually in the front row, the front row under the back, and you could see me like the whole time. Oh, it was awesome. I don't know how I got those tickets, but they were scalpers or whatever. I can't remember who paid for the son bitches, but we was all there.
That's awesome.
So, but John Mellencamp, he loves old Seymour, Indiana.
Does he?
Oh, hell yeah. He bought that a lot of the buildings out there on
I think his kid runs one of them now or something.
Yeah.
That art center, music for the arts or whatever it's called, I think.
Yeah.
I think you got to get him on the show, Rip. See what you can do. Get Mellencamp on here.
Well, I had some pictures with like him and my sister, and she said he was such a private person that he didn't ever want him posted. I said, okay. So like each year he'd have a big Christmas party out at his house.
Yeah.
What is it, Lake Monroe or whatever,
or
something like that. And there'd be my sister and him and a lot of girls. They're all classmates of 1970.
Are you related to him?
Oh, hell no.
No, but he would be out there.
Who would be out there?
I thought you said I thought you said like a family Christmas. It wasn't family then.
No, it was like a lot of his close friends from 1970.
I got you.
Seymour, when he graduated, would go out there and he'd take a bunch of pictures with him and stuff, and he didn't want it posted. So,
well, shit. I mean, he's on freaking every TV you could imagine, live concerts, paid concerts, this, that, and the other. All right. Get off Mellencamp, I guess, for a minute. EBS wants to talk about people like Sammy Guevara, probably Darby Allen, which goes right into my thing I actually have. Death-defying stunts. What's your thoughts? Before you start talking about it, though, did you see the Darby Allen thing he just did?
No, what did he just do?
So these two were like swinging him,
and
then they just let him go.
Darby
Allen then does a bunch of spins in the air. So they just launched him. He's spinning, like twisting the entire time. And then I could not find a picture on the internet. Somebody else probably would pull it up in a second. And I was going to pull a bunch of tweets, and Tony Khan apparently has blocked him for copyright. He spins, comes down, and clips his head like on the rope, and his neck just like snaps.
Well, Now, I know Darby from Midget's Wrestling School, Nick
Yeah.
Wayne's dad's wrestling school. And if he died in the ring, I think he'd like it. He was a skateboarder.
Yeah, he still is.
Just a total little nut, funnier than shit, and he's doing what he likes to do. And if he dies in the ring, I can just see him. I hope they made a video about it and they keep playing it all the time. But I think he's got a death wish out there.
What if he doesn't die? Do you think he's 30 right now? I think so. He's older, I think, than what people think. I think he's 30. People have said like his body is, I don't know, made differently or something. I don't know if that's any truth to that or not.
He's light.
He's light.
Yeah, if he was a heavy guy, he would be beat to death.
But what do you think? You think he's going to be able to walk when he's 50 years old?
Probably not, but he'll have a shit-eating grin on his face all the time, or in his wheelchair. He could be in a wheelchair like Dynamite Kid was. But Darby, the thing what's bad about Darby does all this dangerous shit too much.
Yeah.
And no matter what, 10, 20 years from now, he's going to be totally fucked. But you know that when you get in and you're doing that stuff.
What do you think? What would have happened if he would have snapped his neck on live TV and died? You think anything? Like, is there repercussions for Tony or AEW or the network or
I don't know, but I thought Buff Bagwell, I think looked like he broke his neck in WCW.
People have done that, I think, on TV, but I'm talking actually like dying.
I was in the Maritimes and some guy died at ringside, I remember.
That probably wasn't on national TV.
No, yeah, that's the only thing. But I can't remember anybody else like died in the ring on a show.
Yeah,
and I wouldn't want to see it to begin with.
Right. And I don't think I answered his question. Actually, he said do them instead of pin them or whatever. I don't know. They're just getting their shit in at that point, I would say. Who was more crazy, Tommy Wildfire Rich or Tracy Smothers?
I'm going to go Tracy Smothers.
Yeah.
Tracy could work like he was the craziest guy in the world. And he was really a great worker. Now, Tommy could go from being the humble baby face to being one of the world's biggest assholes, too.
When I was a kid, I agree with that.
Okay.
Tommy turned heel, man.
Yes.
I hated his guts, man.
Yes. So he was real good at that. But Tracy, you really thought he was fucking nuts. And he was just, I remember when him and Steve Armstrong were partners, and they were just so humble. And Tracy worked so hard, became a great pro.
So I feel like on TV when I was watching, he was always like WCW or something, like with Armstrong. He was always kind of like a baby face.
Yes.
I never as a kid saw him as like a wild, crazy person. But
what's funny, I just think of this. When I met Pez Whatley, he was the most humble baby face there was. And then that sumbitch turns heel, and this sumbitch won't shut up. He was bragging about this, bragging about that. He bleached his hair blonde. It almost all broke off and everything. He'd be talking that shit. And when he was a baby face, you couldn't imagine him as a heel. But then when he was a heel, you couldn't imagine him as a baby face. Mm-hmm. It's called just being good, of actors in their roles and playing whatever character you want them to play.
Heavy D is in green. We recognized you earlier, Heavy D. I don't know if you were on here or not. He says he's on his lunch break, so I don't have long. I'd like to hear something else about Miss Brenda. I want to hear about Miss Brenda. More stories you tell about Miss stories I want to hear. The more stories you tell, the more I want to hear. So we talked about her a little bit last week with Scott Armstrong. He thought she was really, really nice person, or maybe she was to him. But then you had to bring out that she was a stripper that owned guns, so that kind of.
Well, that was just self-preservation, was all that was. I remember we was living together in Lexington, and we was coming in from some town. There was some guy trying to break into our apartment, because it was the apartment. You come down, you go downstairs, and it was like the only one that was downstairs. So I grabbed that sumbitch and put him in a front face lock. And she went in and got the apartment, got my Twistoflex, and she beat that motherfucker half to death. And so we called John Schaus, who Randy used to get his pot from, and he was undercover agent for Lexington police department or whatever, and she beat him half to death, and I think I saw her eyes sort of like rolling back of her head like the Exorcist or whatever. She beat him half to death. This guy was just fucking screaming. So when the cops came, he just wanted to get the hell out of there. He was scared to death of her. So that was just another day in the life of.
So did she stay in wrestling long? She traveled with you for quite a while, didn't she? I know she like when you and Adrian Street had the feud. Obviously, you were together there.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. Yeah, like in Kansas City, I was the boss, so she had Brenda's beauty shop. So she was
a segment.
She was. Yeah, and then she was just a fucking natural.
Yeah,
and then she was never trained, but she knew fucking timing.
Because she was a stripper.
Yeah, it's pretty simple. But we worked together. We started in Southeastern, and then from Southeastern, let's see, I went to Ollie's, and she was on nationwide television. Ole didn't like her because that was been an extra plane ticket when we would go on tour and stuff.
Oh yeah.
But then the people would get mad because she wasn't there.
Oh yeah, I forgot she was there, wasn't she?
Yeah, and then we worked for Wahoo, and then in Kansas City, I think that was about it. And then the best one was when we worked with Adrian Street and Miss Linda. That was so good. The first night in, we had a big angle with a big pull apart and everything. Everybody wanted to see the girls get into it. And then me and Adrian, we had instant chemistry. And so we had a 26-week program of different kind of matches and stuff like that. And, I had hurt Linda, this and that. And
well, yeah, you hurt her. You took her head off with a clothesline or two.
Oh, what the hell, right? I said, "Don't worry, honey. This is going to hurt you more than it is me." But Linda was a tough old girl. Yeah.
Yeah. Heavy D. She has Miss Brenda has passed away. She is no longer with us. He asked that question. Buckshot Kid, Rip. How did you meet Macho? How did you beat Macho in bodybuilding? How did you beat him, Rip?
I did everything better than him.
He had better muscles than him.
No. Here's the story how we started. We were watching Memphis. Me and Randy were watching Memphis wrestling on Lexington. And we saw and Kevin Sullivan was in. And he put on, like he was in the Mr. Tennessee contest. And they had it on a wrestling show. Me and Randy looked at that, and he goes, "That's what we're going to do." I said, "What?" I'd always trained, but I was a lazy asshole when it come to diet, right? So he says, "We're going to get in contest." So the first one we went into, and this is how competitive Randy was. We was in it was like Mr. Indianapolis, Mr. Man of Steel. There was all these contests that were in Indianapolis because my buddy, Tom Zupanzik, who was with the Colts organization for 25 years, strength coach, director of business development, whatever, he would do bodybuilding shows. So he would always say, "Okay, I got a show coming up, this and that." So me and Randy was going to be like, it was like Mr. Naptown, Mr. Man of Steel, Mr. Indianapolis, whatever the hell it was. So we went up to that, and I said, "Hey, what time we leave?" And he goes, "We're taking separate cars." I said, "What? Why in the fuck would we do that? You're the enemy." And I started fucking laughing, right? So the first contest, first and only, Randy beat me. Like I got third and he got second or something like that. So he was all happy about that. I said, "That didn't count. You was on the gas." So now he's mad. So then I said, "Wait till next time, motherfucker." So I just go all out, and he thought he'd get me, but he'd put me on the road wrestling every night where he'd take the night off. But the thing about it is, when you take the night off, you got a tendency to eat all the time, and you're bored. Where I'm sitting there I'm thinking that motherfucking cocksucker, this and that, whatever, blah, blah, blah. So I'm in the whole time I'm there, I'm running the shows, but I'm doing knee pull-in, squats, lunges. I got the rubber hose, doing push-ups between chairs, and eating perfect and everything, just to get that motherfucker. So he was in like 2 more contests. See, I beat him into Mr. Kentucky and something else, and all of a sudden, he quit. He gave up. I said, "You're on the fucking steroids, and you can't fucking beat me, and there's nothing you can do about it." Oh, and I used to rib him, but he couldn't. God, he'd get mad at me in the house. He'd knock holes in the door and stuff. And one time he actually knocked the door over, and he was in character, "You motherfucker," and which is all a rib because he's just ribbing. And I said, "God damn, Randy, you broke the fucking door. We're going to have to pay for the motherfucker." He goes, "You know, you're going to pay one more penny than me." Oh.
So when you beat him on the next one back, do you remember what places you guys got? Was that the one on video? There was one on video. I think you got like 3rd or 4th.
Yeah, that was
got 7th. Maybe
that was in the
Mr.
that was in the Mr. Kentucky. And what was so good at that? This was in Rupp Arena, the smaller setup now.
Yeah.
But there was like over 2,400 people there to watch the physique contest. And the reason it did so good, well, hell, the first one they had Arnold was on there.
Yeah.
Arnold was on one, and Lou Ferrigno. I can't remember which
Lou
one.
was on the one on video.
Okay.
Lou Ferrigno.
And Lou Ferrigno, he was hot on the Incredible Hulk on TV. And he was a big motherfucker. And when he talked, he had a hearing impediment. So he sounded funny when he was talking. But that sumbitch was a goddamn stud.
Now, did people know you and Randy at that time?
Oh, we was on TV all the time, right? But what it was we was plugged on our wrestling show. We would plug the physique contest.
I remember. Yep.
Right. Yeah. And I think I had some clips a little bit, but most of them, they were lost.
I've got them. I've got the whole thing.
Okay.
I've got the entire competition, I think.
Okay.
And I got Ferrigno talking, I think.
Yeah.
At the podium.
And then and it was either
lost in the flood or in my box in my closet.
Then the next year Arnold come in, right?
Yeah.
Now Arnold was hot off that movie he made. I can't remember the fucking
Terminator. Was that back then?
Terminator, but it was one where he was the Bill whatever, some kind of guy, whatever.
Terminator.
Well, I can't remember if that was it or not. But Arnold, he was cool, and then he had the seminar there, so he got flown in, and they paid him. This was 1980, about 1982. They paid him like $1,500 just to do the seminar. Then he sold all of his fucking Arnold Schwarzenegger pictures for $29. And
holy cow!
Yeah, well,
back then that's a.
Yeah, but he would autograph it. It'd be like Tavon Lilas, Arnold Schwarzenegger.
That's still,
right?
I mean,
right? Oh, he was a businessman, right? So I bought one of his, but then he bought one of my pictures, and
really?
I signed it because he was a big wrestling fan, and he bought it, and I charged him $40. So he fucking loved that. Because I made him buy a picture from me,
and he paid more than you paid.
Yes, it was all, he just loved it because it was all like a rib and everything. Because he had a hell of a time. Just think he got flown in, treated like a fucking king, got the guest fucking pose, have his fucking seminar, make all this goddamn. He was in and out on the same day.
Wow,
that was a hell of a deal. They got to play Arnold, right?
Yeah,
so it's fucking awesome.
Nice, good question, BSK. But he also said. Did you do any special favor to the judge? No, he just beat him fair and square, man. Rip would not cheat. One thing, if you ever watched him wrestle, he would not cheat at anything. Now he's talking about about his membership again.
Okay. Hey, just think what I found out in bodybuilding is that most of the judges are effeminate.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. And I remember I got so fucking mad. It was in the Mr. Indiana contest, and the guy that won it, I said, and I got fourth place on the first time they'd seen me in the Mr. Indiana, and I said I was better than that motherfucker, and the guy says, and I didn't know the way it was. It was like wrestling. They said, wait a minute, this guy owns a gym, he's on the physique committee, he's retiring, he'd got second 2 years in a row. I said, well, hell, that makes sense.
It's his time.
It was his time, right? He paid his fucking dues and whatever. And that's the way the game of life is. So I said, yeah, well, I see your point on that. So what the fuck, right?
It's all right, Buckshot Kid. Thanks for becoming a member. We really appreciate it. Opinion Haver said he liked the Globetrotter talk. Fascinating. Actually fascinating. Rip, how you feel about the guys, WWE guys, finally lifting, hitting the weights again?
Who would that be?
I don't know. They got some decent size in there now. Talyon in the house. Love Miss Brenda. Love Tracy Smothers.
What's so funny is Tracy could be such a great heel. You think he was really mad at you.
Oh, yeah?
He was, and he could work a really good crazy act. That sumbitch was fucking great. Yeah, then we'd be doing something and he'd give me the squeeze. He'd give me the Iggy. We'd be in the dressing room, and so he'd just be like he was totally fucking nuts in the fucking dressing room. He'd start throwing shit and everything and screaming to some rookie guys, right? And the rookie guys would just, they're like, they're golfing and shit. And I said, oh, man, you're too much.
I don't think I ever met him. I don't think I ever met him once.
No, he was easy.
I can't remember if it was last week or did it actually show this video. Rico should be on any time now. Hopefully Rico joins us here.
Well, it's 5 minutes early.
Shortly.
He should be popping in about.
I can't remember. Did I show this last week or was it last week when I didn't have it? You remember?
What's it? Hey, hatcha!
Listen to that crowd pop.
Look at Eugene's how we got up the house.
Look, I won!
Oh!
I won!
This must have been at Muncie.
I won!
Well, you were undefeated at Muncie. There's Briscoe.
You like how I cut all that out where you can't really see what happened, but
Yeah.
you just see Cena's reaction and then my hand raised, but you don't really know what happened in between. You don't need to know what happened in between.
Well, it's like the girls say, you're hell of a tease.
All you need to know is that I won the match.
And
there I was.
And you was over.
Did the boom and
the double knock.
Next thing you know, I'm getting my hand raised.
The double knocker, baby.
I beat John Cena, Rip.
Well, fuck. You beat him how many times? 27?
Just once.
Oh, okay.
I've said it 27, but just
yeah, something like that.
Just the one time.
It don't get any better than this.
I think you better than beat John Cena, man.
We was on a roll talking this shit. Yeah, Conan the Barbarian. See Clayton come through.
Is that what the movie back then?
Yeah, that was the movie.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Sure it wasn't Terminator?
No, it was Conan the Barbarian. That's what it was. That was when before he'd really hit it big.
You don't know anything, Clayton.
Oh, no, he was right. I couldn't think of the name is what it was.
Rip, one question. You get the fan mail from fans to get autographs.
Fan mail from some flounder. I remember that was on a TV show. Anyway.
No, they want to know if you I guess answer fan mail, I guess, is what he's asking.
Well, they got to mail it to Lilas Enterprises or whatever. Do we have a place to mail it to?
As long as they put a little cash in there, it'd be good.
Yeah. Got to have a little casheruno.
I hope Matthew Rodriguez isn't the guy that emailed me wanting a picture, and I said send some money from you, and he kind of threw a little tantrum after that.
Oh well.
Look at Italian Vaughn won. Suck it, Cena. He said that'd be cool. All right, you got the drum roll ready, Rip? You got the drum roll.
Who's that down there at the bottom? I said 11:59. It's 11:58. Who's right there?
We like people that are early.
Hey,
the show.
There's Rico.
Rip.
What's up, baby?
I got to get the
nothing.
There we go. Look at that.
Okay. Rico Costantino.
Man, I hope I spelled your name right.
I was going to say.
Actually, you made me Greek.
What'd I do wrong?
CONS is Greek. I'm COS. I'm Sicilian. So, so I'm mozzarella cheese, not feta.
Yeah. So you're like me.
I did that.
Yeah, I'm Wop City myself.
Yeah.
Yeah, Shira. It looks
Did
like
I really spell that wrong? Did I really? Hey, I was doing that like at midnight last night. Buckshot Kid knows. He was in the chat. Man,
it don't get any better than this.
Yeah, we'll figure it out later. Well, welcome to the show. Thanks for coming, man.
Thank you for having me, Rip. It's been since 2000 I've seen you.
Something like that.
Yeah.
You look fucking like you're the same goddamn age. I'm looking like fucking. I just grew my beard back about 3 weeks ago, something like that.
Yeah.
He was on me about growing a beard, Hell, it all comes in white. I hate
Hey,
I
me
hate
too.
shaving. I hate shaving, but I got all that.
Yeah.
I got all that extra turkey neck skin. So
Yeah.
that don't help me with the attractive young men. So what the hell, right?
Hey, when we hit 10,000 subscribers on here, Rip's gonna dye it black too. We're gonna dye it black right here live on TV here.
No, live.
Live. Rip Rogers live.
This is Rip Rogers live, not live. Live. Okay.
I'm
Rico, where you live? Where you at right now?
in Las Vegas, Nevada.
Okay.
Oh, Las Vegas. Okay. So you got are
Yeah.
you 3 hours different there? I thought Vegas
Yeah.
was 2 hours. Is it 3?
3.
Okay. You've been busy hitting the shows too. You said you're on Boland's show and Renee's show. I checked out some of that.
Yeah, I've had a lot of time. I had a work injury last year. I fractured my hip and tore my hip flexor at
Great.
work. And workman's comp out here stinks. They waited 16 months to approve everything. By then, my socket, my hip, the ball was all flat. Everything was a mess in there. So they had to go do reconstructive hip, the socket, put the ball in, tap the titanium rod in my thigh. A 45-minute surgery took 3 hours.
Oh wow.
And I just had that done on the 3rd of January, 2nd or 3rd. So
how you doing now with that? I mean, is that like recovered going back to work or?
I'm up. I'm walking. I just got to listen to the doctor. He won't let me drive yet. So as soon as he says I can go back to work, I'm going to go back to work and get back in the gym. I ain't been in the gym 17 months.
Oh, wow. Hey, I noticed the fish aquarium behind you. I've got to ask, man. I just got my daughters their second fish aquarium. We can't keep fish alive for anything. Are you a fish guru? Can you help me out with how I can keep my fish
Basically,
alive?
Yeah. I've been doing fish ever since I was 28, right after American Gladiators. This is an 80-gallon tank. This has got geophagus, which is earth eaters, which they sift the sand through their gills and they do the food. I've got 4 electric blue acara, which are tropical, and actually an African leaf fish I've had for 8 years.
Holy cow! I can't keep one alive for 8 days.
Yeah, I just like fish. They're very peaceful. The lights are on a timer, and there's my bed over there. I just lay down and watch them swim. I go to sleep. The timer goes off. But yeah, these guys are hams too. They'll hog the camera. They got personalities and stuff like that. I have an 80-gallon downstairs with a bunch of carnivore fish, and then I have a 20-gallon right here that I'm starting with something called it's like a dinosaur fish. It's called a biker or bicher fish. They look like little dinosaurs. They can breathe air, and then they can get air through the water.
Oh wow!
And yeah. So what you do is don't do the fish bowls. You got to get at least what kind of fish you want to get. What
I
kind
don't
of fish
know.
you want to get your daughter?
We've already had some. We have all kind. We've like a glowfish. Every fish, guppies. I mean, they just got little stuff. They just die all the time, though.
Yeah, well, those fish die because they're wimpy fish.
Rip, you big fish guy.
You got to start with a hardy fish, something like my gosh, silver dollars. They're pretty. They're big. They're silver.
Write that down.
Yeah, silver dollar fish. You can get geophagus. They got many different colors, and something hardy like a green terror, a Jack Dempsey, or even an Oscar fish to start. Because these guys that you see, this big one right here,
yeah,
he was that big. He was less than an inch when I got him. Now all of them are grown. You see, they're all hams.
How about that? Hey, we just had somebody in the chat said get some Oscars, so they're right there with you.
Oscars are very hardy fish. You've got the common Oscar, red Oscar, tiger Oscars, albino Oscars, very colorful. The albinos are white and orange, so they're really cool to look at. Aggressive fish. I feed them. I feed all my fish pellets or frozen food because now the fish market is so inundated with aquarists that they carry disease. Inundated. Inundated.
Like I know what the fuck that means.
Okay, it is overwhelmed with people like puppy mills. Okay, the fish be like a fish mill. It's fish mill. They don't take care of the feeder fish, so they got diseases. So you come home, feed them to your fish. Your fish gets diseases and dies. So I go with frozen and I go with pellets, high grain pellets, and it seems to work.
Well, shit, we got the great Rico Costantino on here, former WWF superstar, a man who was like bodyguards and winning the nationwide. What was that nationwide contest?
American Gladiators?
Yeah, the American Gladiator. Some bitch was such a super goddamn stud. Now he's getting on here telling me about fish. Now that's like Adrian Adonis. I was in Portland. And I went to his house and he said, "Hey, you can play with my fish. They like for you to touch them and stuff." Some bitch had piranha in there, right?
Oh,
some of a bitch is biting my fingers and shit. So,
that sounds like something the boy would do to.
Yeah, I had the fish tank at home years ago, and I had all my cat scrubs, rub-a-dub, buttermilk bowl, all of them. So they'd be flipping them little some bitches. And they'd go out of the fish thing, and then they would try and they'd start eating them and shit. I said, "Damn, I'd get rid of the fish bowl and everything."
Yeah, the bowl. My tanks got lids on them, so the fish don't commit fish-icide, because they'll jump out because they spook. So you got to keep the lids on tight, stuff like that. But this is kind of my hobby. That's cool. Shooting, archery, weightlifting. I've got many hobbies. So,
that's awesome, man. Well, how about wrestling? We're going to have to get into some kind of wrestling on this show, I think. It is a wrestling show, but a lot of times we don't talk wrestling. We talked
fish.
Harlem Globetrotters today. We talked John Mellencamp. We talked music today. So it is a wrestling show, but we're not always talking wrestling. So fish is totally fine, man.
Well, whatever you want to talk about, let her rip. Let her rip.
Hey,
no pun intended.
I even got some old pictures. Look at that thing right there.
That's me at 38 and a half.
Holy shit.
I was going to ask you that. Is that when you signed at 38? How old were you when you signed?
38 and a half.
Were you really?
Yep.
Well, he told him they was 28. He looked 28. So what the hell, right?
Cornette thought I was 25.
All right.
When I went up because when I signed, I was only in the business 8 months and had 12 matches. And they invited me up to Connecticut, and I was part of the last Dory Funk dojo.
Okay.
So Dory and his wife were there. We're up in Connecticut with everybody, and we're sitting in the cafeteria, and we all sat in a line, and Dory and his wife would come by and ask the normal questions. What's your name? Where you from? Blah, 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 blah. About 3 or 4 minutes worth. And they were going down the line, and they came up to me. And like I said, it's about 3 or 4 minute conversation. Goes, "What's your name?" Rico Costantino. How long you been in the business? 8 months. They looked at each other.
Mm-hmm.
How many matches have you had? 12. They stood up and walked away. They didn't even get to my age. They just walked away. They probably said, "Oh, this guy did a favor to get where he's at." Blah, 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 blah. But at the end of the tryout, the 10 days, Dr. Tom talked to Cornette and said, "Hey, let's sign the kid to a developmental." And Cornette then advised me he was coming down to OVW in Louisville. And he says, "I want you to come with me to Ohio Valley." I said, "Sure." So July 99, I left for Ohio Valley.
Wow. So Cornette, who else was at the camp besides Cornette and Dr. Tom? Anybody else from WWE?
Henry was there. Nicole Bass was there.
Oh, wow.
That was really it out of the 10 that I remember.
So they didn't get to your age, and then you just packed up and...
Well, no. I told Dory right away. I'm 38 and a half.
Oh, okay. Dory, okay.
Yeah, they knew right away.
Okay.
I never lied. just Cornette found out on the last day I was 38 and a half and hit the roof at the Armory at Killer Kowalski's after our last tag match, yelling and screaming, I didn't know you were 38. You walk around like you're 25 and you wrestle. I was like, hey, I never lied, And then I ended up, I'll push it far ahead. I ended up being debuted at 40 on the roster.
That's fucking awesome.
That is great.
Yeah.
So when you get to OVW, are you the first contract guy there?
Mm-hmm.
So if you could walk us through, like, showing up you were at the old Davis Arena then at Jeffersonville, right?
Yeah.
The first actual signed trainee. Did you go in by yourself? Did you go in like with Danny Davis and all the other guys he had already been training? Or how did that work at that time?
I finally got there to Louisville. I walked into the Louisville Gardens and had a match with the Andretti brothers.
Or you had a match first?
Right away. I didn't get to meet anybody, nothing. You're going to take on the Andretti brothers. That's how I walked in.
Vito, man.
Vito.
Doesn't get any better than that.
Vito and Guido.
Vito and Guido.
Does not get any better than that, coming to Louisville, landing, and getting Vito and Guido, man.
Nobody knowing who you are.
All right, so after that then, going to Jeffersonville, the old Davis Arena.
Right.
Were you in with everybody else then, like non-contract, we'll call them at that time, or did they?
No, I was the first guy there. And it was up to Danny's guys to get me whipped into shape, And I mean, I was green behind this ear, wet behind that one. That's Rip. I didn't know shit or shinola from just knew the basics because Jesse Hernandez from Empire Wrestling Federation in San Bernardino started training me. I used to work 8 hours a day, drive 3.5 hours to San Bernardino, work out 3 hours, drive 3.5 hours back to Vegas, and then go. I used to do that twice a week with my brother. And they played off the American Gladiator thing, the red, white, and blue American Gladiator champion, that kind of thing. And then after like 5 months, I held the heavyweight title. And one of the highlights in EWF is Honky Tonk Man came down, and I was going to wrestle Honky Tonk. And Jesse said, this is going to be like a DQ or something. Wayne never lets anybody go over on him and stuff like that. And during the match, he was talking to me and stuff like that. And he let me go over on him 1, 2, 3, take his guitar, smash it on the ring post and everything. And I was just shocked. I just went with it.
Yeah.
And afterwards, I went back and I said, Mr. Ferris, I said, what happened? He goes, I knew you had it when you took me over on the headlock takeover. He says, I knew you knew what you were doing. And I that was one of the biggest compliments at that time I ever received.
Wow, that's awesome. So were you there then when he came?
Yeah.
Was Rip wrestling there or training there?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Rip was there. Big part.
Give us some Rip Rogers stories or meeting Rip or thoughts of Rip. Anything you can remember from 20-some years ago of Rip Rogers, please.
Rip, old school, didn't put up with any bull crap. Just real quick, I remember, do you remember the match, Rip? I think I was on the opposite side and we were doing TV or something and we were wrestling and the other three, us new guys, not contract, but we weren't doing what you said. And Rip just got off the ring and walked in the back.
Is that when I come back with a kendo stick?
No, I did. I never got the kendo stick from you, but you just walked away. You just
figure it out. Figure it out, boys.
Figure it. And that's what you said.
Right.
Figure it out and left. And there we were just like, But yeah,
you learned from it, didn't you?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, I took, if it wasn't for Danny Davis's core guys, and I've said this on many podcasts and I can never overstate it. If it wasn't for, like I said, you, Flash, Nick, Rob,
Doug Basham there.
Doug Basham,
Danny
even
Basham.
Damager and stuff like that, I wouldn't have made it, because I remember when I started learning. But see, I took the extra step. I mean, after a while, the contract guys would come and they would just do what was required of them.
Right.
Me, I used to show up on Saturday when Nick used to train the local people.
Yeah.
And I used to go in there and train with Nick and the kids and just learn. Danny would take me sometimes. He'd be there late editing a show and stuff. And we'd get in the ring and he would teach me stuff, talk to me, try to get the psychology in my brain, and that's what Rip did, is get the psychology. I remember one match we were going to go out and I was going to wrestle Nick, and Nick goes, well, I don't know why he asked me, but he goes, what do you want to do? And I said, okay, I want to do this. I want to do this, and let's do this and this, and then we'll do the heat, and then this and that, and this. And then Nick is just sitting there looking at me straight faced. And he just looked at me and he goes, Rico, we have 6 minutes and we can't get all your shit in, but we'll get some of it.
Just to let all the listeners know, Nick is Eugene. So most people are familiar with the show and know Nick Dinsmore, but he's talking about the future Eugene after that.
Yeah, but he said it so nice but it clicked. And then things started clicking. And then I got in a feud with Rob Conway. And Rob was calling the match as we were doing it, especially Louisville Gardens when we did the iron, what was that iron glove called?
I know. Coal miner's glove.
Coal miner's glove. Yeah. He talked me through the whole thing. He goes, okay. And I'm ready to nip up. He goes, not yet, not yet, not yet. Now. Bing. And I'd nip up. And it was just getting the timing down. And like I said, all those guys, and I was told one important thing. Might have been you, Rip, or was Nick. And they said, to make it in this business, you keep your mouth shut and your ears open. I can't.
Yeah, shut the fuck up.
Yeah, Rip would have said shut the fuck up, probably.
Yeah, but it was put to me like that. Keep your mouth shut and your ears open. And that's what I did. And I wanted to be so part of it because I loved it as a child. AWA, Rocky Johnson, Pat Patterson, the Sheik, Road Warriors, Vern Gagne's league used to come here to Vegas and we used to have it on Saturday, and I just loved it. And now here I am at 38 and a half living a dream. I'm now getting a contract. So I want to make it work. I want to put everything I have into it. So, when we did St. Therese or anything like that, I used to help with the crew, setting the ring up, tearing the ring down. I wanted to learn every facet of the business. I wanted to know everything. And went on. And then I had a match with Flash for the title. And one of the move was a reverse hip toss, and then Flash hip tossed me, and I did a flip out of it to an arm drag. Well, remember the old ring, Rip, that used to have the hole in the center?
There's a lot of holes in it, but
Yeah. Well, I ruptured my left patella tendon. I tore my quad during the match, so I was out. And Vince was nice enough. He took care of all the bills, physical therapy, surgery, all of that, kept paying my contract fee. And the doctor here said, I'll never wrestle again. And the funny thing was 6 months later, I was back in the ring. But Kenny Bolin, that big round mound of sound, he asked Cornette. He said, Cornette, let me bring Rico back as a heel. And Cornette said, that's my top baby face. He's never going to be a heel. He'll never make it. And Bolin Bolin said, give me 6 weeks and he'll be a heel. And I made it in 3 or 4 weeks. And then I was the top heel. I became the role model.
Yeah, I remember that. I had posted or found a video of you and Cena doing a promo, and you said you know who I am. I'm the role model, and this is my prototype or whatever it was. And that was kind of that. So I was gonna just go into the rest of these guys here. So the other guys then started coming in. I don't know how long after you were there, but the other, they started sending other contract guys in. The Batistas, Lesnar's, all those.
Yeah,
kind
I think
of guys.
it was about a month. Once Jimmy got it settled.
What was that like in that transition when these new big monsters started coming in?
Nothing. We were just like a team. I mean, to me, I got along with everybody. I learned, especially Randy Orton, 3rd generation, and then Cornette, I listened to everybody. I was like a sponge. I just tried to suck it all in because I knew I didn't have much time. And this is right when WCW and WWF were having the battles and stuff like that. So I know time is against me because of my age. So I wanted to get called up as fast as I could.
Yeah.
So
Did you like that working with Cena and being a heel? Did you like the heel or the babyface better? I remember seeing you at the Louisville Gardens, excuse me, as a babyface, coming in as a babyface. You were like the All-American, the first signee. Everybody, Rico was the man, like the ultimate babyface. So did you like that, or did you like turning heel with Bolin and Cena and those guys?
I love playing either. I love being a face, and I like being a heel. At least OVW let me be me. The Rico, the athlete, what I could do as a face, and they let me do what I could do as a heel, and I proved that match after match after match. And then I get called up to WWE, and what do? Make me a manager.
What do you always say, Rip?
It used to be when I was teaching, they'd say, train this guy as a babyface. And then they would actually bring him in as a heel, just like you said. So I said, okay, I understand it. No matter what, I'm training them both ways. That way they can't get screwed when they go up there. But they would actually say, no, this guy's going to be a heel. So I'm thinking, okay, that means they're going to bring him up as a babyface just to fuck with everybody. So,
they double fucked me. They didn't bring me up as a heel or a babyface. They brought me up as a manager.
Well,
I barely knew wrestling. I knew zip about managing.
Well, what they was looking at too is you'd been hurt. You were dead.
No, I wasn't. Yeah, you're right. I was hurt.
Okay, you were hurt. They're going, well, and we know how old he is. You could have been right circumstances. You could have been a manager there for 20 years. Got a paycheck, been a fucking TV star, talking shit nationwide, world fucking wide, having every bitch 6 to 60 blind, crippled, or crazy wanting your big Italian slongo, so what the fuck, right?
Kielbasa.
Yeah.
Yeah, what was that like then? So you go ahead.
Well, I called Kenny immediately and I said, give me some hints, because I didn't know what I was doing. I was sitting at home because I was doing dark matches.
Mm-hmm.
And about 2 weeks prior than when I got called up, I was wrestling Raven. And one night I was a face, one night I was a heel, during the house shows. And Raven asked me, what do you like, being a heel or a face? I said, I like being a heel. He says, you got to do something about your face because you're pretty. And so he says, grow sideburns. Well, he wanted me to do the honky-tonk sideburns.
Uh-huh.
Well, Wayne already did that. And then he wanted me to do the Rock corporate sideburns. And that's already been done. So I just went full Wolverine.
I think I have a picture, maybe those.
Well, that's the second character, but you can still see the sideburns.
Yeah. Oh, I think I got it. I think maybe this one.
There it
how
is.
about that one?
Yeah, those are real. That's what they actually looked like growing. Yeah, they were real.
So you go up initially. You're with Billy and Chuck, right? Isn't that who you
Yeah.
started with?
Yeah, and I asked Billy. And Billy told me, "Don't worry." He goes, "I got you," and because Billy's a tag team specialist, and he helped me get through the manager spot. Told me when to, interject, when to slide in, throw my spin kick. That's one thing I did have for me because I am, I held a black belt in Kempo and Odu Stairu, and then I got an honorary black belt in Taekwondo. So, the moves were real. It was bringing them back in a working manner so I wouldn't be kicking people's teeth out.
Right. So when who originally told you were going to do this Rico gimmick, the stylist? Billy and Chuck, are they on board on this, or was everybody told to do this, or was it like their idea? Do you remember how it all came about?
Yeah, I was sitting at home and I got a phone call, said, "You're coming up to Ottawa this week for television." And I said, "Oh, okay." So I get to Ottawa and they said, "Okay, you're going to be Billy and Chuck stylist," I guess because they were losing heat. And I said, "Okay, what kind of stylist? Hair stylist, clothes stylist, foot stylist?" And Vince looked right at me and goes, "Flesh it out," and turned around on me. So I was like, okay. So I came out my first time black on black, like Stevie Richards did when he was part of Right to Censor, and then he went the other thing, and he was black on black. Well, I didn't want to copy Stevie, so I come home the week after, and I'm laying in the tanning bed, thinking, going, okay, stylist. And then I said, you know what? I'm going to be an image consultant, like out of New York. So I thought of an image consultant, and Godfather and I are good friends. I've known Godfather back since, 70s. I've known him that long. And I said, "Where'd you buy your clothes? Where did you get your stuff? I need to go get some of that stuff." So I put belly button rings in my ear. So if I wore a red shirt with the alligator suit, I had red glasses, red belly button areas. If I wore a blue one, same thing. Dressed like it, alligator suit, tiger suit, snakeskin suit. I wore all these clothes, and here I am coming out like I'm God's gift to everybody, and I'm wearing the most hideous garments you can wear, and I'm giving them the sideburns, hair, thinking I'm all that, interfering in the matches. I remember my first match I interfered in with Ottawa because those people love the Hardy Boys. And I gave Jeff or Matt one kick, and Billy and Chuck retained the titles. And when you come out of Ottawa, they're up there and you're down here, man. I got pummeled with snowballs. So it was working.
Yeah, I can't remember what I was going to ask now. I had something right. I just had something right on the tip of my tongue, and I can't remember what I was going to ask now. What was somebody had asking the question already in the chat? I mean, asking about Billy Gunn. Can you go into anything more on Billy Gunn personally? And I don't know if you know this, if you're still watching, he's still out there watching. He looks like Andre the Giant now out there in AEW with all the smaller guys. But
yeah, I heard the other day, I did a podcast and they did a Royal Rumble. It looked like the teacher throwing and setting up all the kids. But Billy Kip, he's an enigma. He's meant for this, growing up, he was a cowboy, and I mean, he knows it. He knows the psychology. He moves well. He still moves well. I got to meet his sons at an event when they came here to Vegas, spitting images of him, and Billy really helped Chuck and I improve and stuff like that. So we were always talking, I used to try and work out with Billy in hardcore, because those guys are giants, so I wanted to, look my best and stuff like that in case I did get to go into a singles.
Right. I do remember what I was going to ask you now. What did Vince say then when he finally saw you? You said he had turned his back on you when you said, "What do you want?" So when he finally saw what you came up with, did he say anything to you after that, or nothing?
No, he didn't say that. Vince didn't like me because I was too old. He didn't like my age. So I never got help from creative. I never got, any advice, nothing. It was just, I just thought of stuff. I talked to Dean Malenko, Fit Finley, Jericho, Benoit, people I trusted. I would talk to them. I'd think of a move and I'd ask Jericho or Benoit, I got this move, and I would show it to them. I said, where should I put that in a match? And they would tell me, put it in a shot, put it, in your comeback, or not a comeback, but put it in your heat, let them come back a little bit, and you cut them off with that. It's devastating enough to go for a cover. Stuff like that. Like the sideburn stunner. Fit Finley is the one that came up with that arm wrench reverse mule kick.
Oh, yeah.
That got along so good. And then I had that second rope jumping Itziguri.
Nice.
So
then you went on did you go on a 3-minute warning after that?
Well, yeah. That's when the wedding happened. Billy wanted to go do singles. Billy wanted to be a singles guy.
Yeah.
And and he wanted to be known as Mr. Ass because he had the famouser and stuff like that. So the wedding came up and we split up. I jumped to Raw and we beat the Tar, 3-minute warning, myself, and Eric beat the crap out of Stephanie and all that stuff. And then I went over to Raw. And right about that time, Undertaker came back from his injury. And when he came back, what did he come back as?
I don't know. Is that the American Badass time?
There you go.
Yeah.
So you can't have Mr. Ass and the American Badass.
Yeah.
So they said, Billy, you're going to be the one Billy Gunn. And then that was it.
Rip, did you tune in for that wedding, Billy and Chuck's wedding?
No, I must have missed that one.
Yeah, that the week before when Chuck proposed to Bill and the wedding part, those were the longest promos I had ever done to date. And the wedding was at least 5 pages. And every time I hit something was a cue for something else to happen. Plus I had to memorize the cues, and then make it my own. So that was really nervous for me. And I must have did well because the next week I came back and I got to wrestle Ric Flair and go over clean on it. 1, 2, 3 in the middle.
Wow. How'd that come about? And it just happened.
Because I think I did as well. I did good at the wedding.
Yeah.
And like I said, that was the longest promo I had ever done since that date. And that was done on SmackDown. We didn't have to do any cuts, any replays, none of it. I hit my marks. People came out. Godfather came out. Eric did his thing. That was the best kayfabe I think ever in the history of wrestling, because Vince brought Eric to the show already made up. He was already dressed in the old man. He came out of Vince's limousine. Vince took him around, introduced him to everybody.
Oh, wow.
Brought him to catering. Went and got him a plate so he could eat. Only people that knew that was Eric was the people that were directly involved with the wedding scene. I mean, when Eric said, wait a minute, did I hear myself say 3 minutes? Mm-hmm. Everybody in the whole auditorium inhaled at the same time. It was like a vacuum. My ears popped. And if that had been Raw live, that'd have been the best. The dirt sheets ruined it.
Oh, was that on that was
Smack.
taped. It was still taped
Got
and
taped on Tuesday, showed
Yeah.
on Thursday.
oh yeah, I didn't even think of that. Wow, well, that's pretty cool though, man. That was a big thing. I remember that. I remember watching that. That was a
Like I said, and that was an actual tuxedo I got married in once.
once. Yeah, well, we've all been there
What the
once or
hell,
twice or however long.
Yeah, it was that was my actual marriage tuxedo.
Hey, I'm gonna rewind and let's talk a little Gladiator. We didn't really talk Gladiators though. How'd you get into that in the first place? Did you audition for that or?
Oh yeah, everybody. It was about 15,000 people across the country, and I had just torn my ACL in a construction thing, and I'm watching TV, rehabbing, and then I saw Gemini come on the screen, and he looked and he said, "All contenders, are you ready for the ultimate challenge? Come out and try out for the American Gladiators." And I looked at myself and I went, "He's talking to me. He's talking to me." So I started training in California, running 40-yard dashes in the beach sand. I would climb the baseball backstops to simulate the wall, do ladder runs. And like I said, they did like 4 or 5 different cities, ending up in Universal Studios. So I went to the Universal Studios. And at that time, there was like an Inside Edition type people who were doing, I don't know what it was really called, Inside Edition. Now they got TMZ and shit like that. But they were actually following me around. The first thing you had to do is 25 chin-ups in 30 seconds. Wow. And they had a person, and if you didn't go all the way down and all the way up, they'd go 1, 2, 3, 4, 4,
Yeah.
4, 5, and then time. And if you didn't get to, 25 to 30 seconds, you were eliminated. Everything was pass fail. Then they took you over, and then you had to do 40-yard dash, and you had to do it under so much time. And then you had to do a one-on-one tug of war, winner moves on. And then you had to do Powerball, once on defense, once on offense. And then that ladder race, you know how you touch a line, come back, touch a further line, come back further. You had to do that. And then you had to do an on-camera interview. So I did all that. And then this little short guy comes walking up to me. He goes, "Hey, what's your name?" "Rico." He says, "Come follow me." Okay. So I follow him and he goes, "This is the Gladiator tryout. I want you to go through this." Sure. So I went through the Gladiator, not a contender, but a Gladiator tryout.
Oh, wow.
And he said, "Okay, we're going to send you a letter and tell you what you're going to be." Because the pilot season, they were getting rid of Titan. Rip, you probably remember him. Remember that big black guy, Doug Nelson or David Nelson?
Yeah.
He was Titan. He was Titan.
Yeah, David Nelson. Yeah.
Yeah. And then they were getting rid of Malibu. So they were going to put 2 new Gladiators in. So I got my letter and they said they wanted me to be a contender. I'm just happy to make the show. They picked 20 men and 20 women out of 12 or 15,000. So I was just glad to be there. So I started training, watching tapes of the season prior. So I knew Titan and Malibu were gone. So I studied laser, nitro, and Gemini, what they were good at, not like how people watch football films.
Yeah.
So, and then I figured, okay, the 2 new guys coming in are going to be like me, new. They're not going to have a plan. So I did all that, and they give you 2 days to train without the Gladiators, go through the wall, go through the eliminator, do a Powerball, do joust. They even had a Marine come up from Camp Pendleton and teach us how to use the giant Q-tips. And we did the gerbil ball, atmosphere, assault, And then after the tryouts, because there were people in the audience that would seed you, see how you did the event, and then they would seed you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I came out top seed, so I got to choose my color, and I chose red. So I wore red through the whole season, my whole season. And it's a 10-hour day to do one show, because they only film from like the 3rd week of June to about the 2nd week in July. And they film fall and spring at the same time. And they end with the grand championship. So, saves money. And then they make a gag order. And then for royalties, they make you sign a contract. And I found out through Muscles and Mayhem, they did this to the gladiators, that you can't claim nothing from now to eternity. I mean, I've got like 4 trading cards. I did a TV guide thing. I did the little red Challenger doll on the package. That's me swinging on Hang Tough. And I got 0 for it.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Holy cow.
That don't feel bad for me. The gladiators got 0 for all the merchandise that they sold. They got 0, nothing. And the injuries, those poor guys, after I saw Muscles and Mayhem, I am glad they didn't pick me as a gladiator. Wow. And $10,000 when I won was more than the gladiators made the whole season.
Really?
Yeah, it's terrible.
So none of that was there was no script to that at all, huh? There was all on the legit.
Oh, that's real.
Side? Yeah.
All legit. Everything was legit. Yeah, not
like Rip's boxing matches.
Nope. That was they were fighting for pride, and I was fighting them and trying to get more points than the other contender.
Was there ever anything telling the gladiators, like, by the production, like, don't hurt the guy? I mean,
hell no.
It seemed like they could have just killed some of those guys every once in a while.
They did.
Some of them didn't really look bad, but
they knocked out 5 contenders the first week. So the alternates had to come in. In fact, in the 2nd round, I faced an alternate because they done creamed the guy that I was going to fight next. Creamed him.
So you're not making it to the finals, is that right? Is that?
Yeah, it's like a round robin tournament. You have your preliminary, your quarterfinal, semifinal, championship. But in the round robin, if you lose in the first round, you can come back through a loser's bracket.
Right.
So I faced a guy named John Adams, and I beat him. And then in the championship round, I'm looking at him because he came and won everything through the loser's bracket. So I had to face him again.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Nice. So what was the most, like, how many of those would you actually do in a day? Would you just have one competition in a day?
Well, it was one show, but it took 10 hours to film.
Okay. I knew, the whole show, but I'm talking like the actual one, whatever they're called, like the heads up competition when it's you versus the other person. Did you do multiple of those within a day?
Oh, no. Because they ran the spring and fall at the same time. So the fall season, Rico, you're up in 5 minutes. Let's say joust. And they didn't have a locker room for us. We had to sit under the bleachers. So we're sitting under the bleachers. I'm getting ready, my 5-minute call. And this is where martial arts helped me out. So I'm sitting under there. Zonka would come in. Okay, Rico. I'd go out. And then I would go. And then my competition would go. And then the ladies would go. And then they'd set up for the spring. And then the spring male, 2 males would go. And then the females would go. And then they'd tear that event down. And they would put the next event up. OSHA would inspect it. And then, 5 minutes, Atmosphere. So you'd start to get ready. And if you notice during the shows, you'd see the guys for the first 3 events all hyped up. And then 4th event, 5th event. And by the time they got to the eliminator, they were gassed out because they didn't know how to calm down in between, so they were like this all day. So they burnt themselves out. And the eliminator was the hardest thing to do. That's where you ran up the reverse treadmill, hand bike, balance beam, where they throw the dummy, climb the rope, do the swing, 2 jumps, and you had to go through Lady and the Tiger. 4 pieces of paper, 3 gladiators with a pad.
Wow. Now, I think a lot of people think that gladiators led you into wrestling, but there was a big gap in between there, I believe. And then
Huge.
Why? I guess I never asked this. What took you so long to pull the trigger to go into wrestling? You said you had liked it previously. You were in gladiators. It seems like maybe that could have been a catapult into something. Why did you wait 30
right
years?
after, I lived in Orange County, so I became like a local celebrity.
Yeah.
And since I didn't get nothing for royalties and stuff like that, for the next year, I traveled around and I worked with about 10 different children's charities. And I just donated my time. I went there for free. All I said is just feed me and I'll be there. I worked Special Olympics, muscular dystrophy, cystic fibrosis, cerebral palsy, Orange County burn unit, you name it, I worked it. If they called, I came. I love the Special Olympics. They were just wonderful to work with. Win, lose, you get a hug. And the funny thing is, I got to get Samuel going back because at the end of the year, they called me. Oh, we hear you've been appearing as American Gladiator champion, and we need 10% of whatever you made. So we need to have your records and this and that, blah, 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 blah. And this lawyer is going through everything. And at the end, he goes, all right, so when can you have all this paperwork ready? And I said, I got it ready right now. He goes, you do? I said, yeah. What's 10% of nothing? He goes, what? I said, I didn't get paid for one thing. And then they left me alone. And then right after that, I got hired by Universal Studios. I was in the Conan show. And then I played the Michael Keaton Batman at Six Flags.
Oh, shit. I guess I didn't know all that.
Yeah, I did that. And then I got hooked up with a group called the Power Team, that Christian group that rips phone books and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah. I've seen them. Yeah.
I did that for 2 years. And then I went right back into bodyguarding. I mean, I traveled the world on their dime, and I got to meet 4 different presidents of different countries. I met Itzhak Rabin twice, and then I was in Israel, and I was going to go back for a 3rd time in 98, but somebody killed him.
Jeez.
Yeah. And 98 is when I came back here to Vegas, and my brother was going to Jesse Hernandez at Empire Wrestling Federation, and he told me to come along. I said, what am I going to do? I'm 38 years old. This is me at 38. He says, it's fun. It's fun. It's fun. So my little brother talked me into it because I was doing a bodyguard gig in Florida, and I was a private investigator. I used to work for 2 insurance companies, State Farm and Farmers, filming all the people who were going, oh, my neck, oh, my back. I need $20 million. Oh. And I would film them for 3 days. And in 2 years, not one person was telling the truth. Not one. Wow. So I came back in 98. My brother got me involved in Jesse. And there's the story from there.
Wow. Let's go back to OVW then a little bit. I'd love to talk a little more OVW. Can you give us just a little snippet on, let's start with, you told me the other day you've been talking to Eugene a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe, or maybe I'll ask it this way. Is there anybody else that you're still in contact with today? I know you've been on Renee's show and Maeve, and it looked like you talked to a little bit.
Yeah.
Eugene. Anybody else you keep up with?
Flash. Flash and I talk here and there.
Nice.
I know Damaja, Danny Holly, wants nothing to do with wrestling, but we did have a great conversation. He just called me out of the blue. and we talked, and it was a really good conversation. RVD, I still talk to RVD. He lives here in town. We visit once in a while and stuff. Cauliflower Alley is here in Vegas, so I show up, and say hello and stuff like that. But that's about it. Like Eugene, I write Rob, say hi, you look great, stuff like that.
He is the Iron Man. He told me once you call yourself the Iron Man, you
live up to
keep
it.
that gimmick forever.
Yeah.
So he's never gonna let it go. I don't think. I don't know.
The Iron Man.
Hey, did you ever when you left that match, Rip? Did you leave it because you were mad, or did you really leave it on purpose to say, "Hey, figure it out"?
Both.
Both.
Yeah.
Oh, he was pissed because we weren't doing what we were supposed to do.
Yeah. So, but I knew it was going to be a learning lesson.
It is,
and then you're going to focus, and then next time you'll do what's right. You have to fail at everything to get it right. So yeah, of course I'm nitpicking on everything just to make a fucking point, so everybody gets the lesson for the day.
Yeah, but it was a good lesson. If you keep your ears open and don't take it personally, you understand. See, if people take it personally, then you're already out of the game. You just missed a nugget from an old school wrestler. You see, when Bobby Eaton came, I talked that boy's ear off. Every time I would just sit there, just listen to him. Here's one of the greatest, and you just sit and talk to him. I got to talk to Cowboy Bob Orton, because I wrestled his son, Randy, Louisville Gardens. So I got to talk to Bob, when Nick wrestled Chris Benoit, I talked to Chris, just to hear them. I remember this Stone Cold helped too, because I don't know if you know this, they were going to cut me. They weren't going to bring me up. They were just going to say, thank you for your time. Goodbye.
Oh, yeah.
And JR, Cornette, Danny, and Stone Cold wrote a letter and said, bring him up. You're going to fire him. He's got 90 days. Bring him up and let him do dark matches. Maybe he'll think of something. And I remember we were doing Huntington, West Virginia. Do you remember that, Rip? Huntington? When Russ McCullough was supposed to do a promo.
Oh, yeah.
And be a heel.
He turned or something.
And he turned. He was like a baby face.
He turned himself face.
Yeah. I remember that. I said, oh, man.
Yeah. Cornette got so pissed. He took Russ out and he put me in Russ's place.
Oh, really?
So when Stone Cold came, I got to go out and give Stone Cold the business. And
Stone at the Garden.
Cold, at the Garden.
Yeah.
And Stone Cold, I'm saying, what are you coming here? This is my house. I am the role model. I don't use foul language. I don't drink beer. You're a bad, role model for my people in Louisville. When I said Louisville, oh my God. They went crazy. So in Louisville, so all of a sudden, Steve talked to me a little bit before the promo. Right in the middle of it, he turns around and starts to walk out of the ring. And that wasn't part of the thing. He was testing me. and JR goes, you better call him back. And I said, hey, boy, don't you turn your back on me. And the audience popped. And I went, oh. And then he did that Stone Cold pause.
Yeah.
That Stone Cold turn. And then he came in. And then he started making nice, like I had really offended him. And I did this. Okay, I'm going to let you have your minute, the spotlight, this and that, this and that. And I said, that's right, boy. And then he starts looking around. And of course, you know what everybody's calling for. And he gave it to me. And the rest was history. So I got the thumbs up from Steve, and they called me up.
Uh-huh.
And from what I know and what I've been told, Stephanie was the one that came up with Rico the Stylist as the manager.
Oh, yeah.
For Billy and Chuck. That's what I was told.
I mean, Rip, you've always said that. Like, if you're going to pay somebody to be in developmental for years and then cut him. Give him a shot. You've said that like.
Yeah, you've wasted. If not, you've wasted 3 years of money and you get nothing out of them. I'd go up there and shotgun every kind of character. They might catch on as something. They might end up being a referee. They might be, if they were a babyface, they could be a heel. They could be a manager, whatever. You just don't know. And you get somebody you were going to cut, and they might end up getting a 20-year run because you figured out something that they could help the company with, and there's no stress.
They were going to cut Cena the same time they cut me.
That was the old rapping on the plane story, or
yeah,
something.
but they were going to cut Cena right after me.
Yeah.
And look how much they'd have lost if Vince would have followed through. Look what they lost. You know.
Was there anybody down there that they did cut that you thought maybe should have made it, so to speak, or?
I think they should have given Flash a shot.
Yeah.
I think that guy worked so hard, believed, and could cut a promo, wrestled, had the psychology. I think they should have given Flash a shot. He could have been anything.
He could, yeah.
I would have brought everybody up that was on contest. They would all been brought up, and then you'd have like for 90 days. I want to see him as a babyface, as a heel, as a manager, as an announcer, as a tag team specialist, or whatever, doing different characters. Then you got a thorough assessment of what they can do, and say, okay, he can help us in this, this, and this, instead of just firing somebody.
I agree, Rip.
But
I
what
agree.
the hell?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
agree.
Flash could do about anything, and he was just he started, Rip, when he was 16 or something. I mean, he started real young, didn't he?
Yeah, he was he was a teenager, and he was. Oh, I used to beat the shit out. All the guys I beat the shit out of. It was like Trash and
Yep.
Flash and you guys would beat the shit out of everybody else. Was what it was. And Flash is about 100. I'd hit him so fucking hard, he'd keep coming back and he'd be beat up. So I said, okay, now I ain't going to hit you that way no more. You already proved you're fucking coming back. So fuck me.
Well, plus he probably started hitting you back finally. And then that's when you, he could hit too. So.
Oh yeah. But he would never hit. He would never hit me that hard.
He wouldn't?
No, he would.
I can't hardly believe it.
No, he would subconsciously hold back.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember Rip's story. One story that got me so funny. You told me one day we were just sitting by old Davis Arena, and we're sitting there and we're talking and we're putting on our boots and stuff. And you started to break out a story that you got in a fight in a bar, and and they got up to fight, the actual fight, and Rip hit the guy with a working punch.
Well, I did that in boxing matches too.
Yeah. Hit the guy with a working punch in a real fight.
Well, just think, if you're throwing working punches and that's all you do, that's second nature.
Yeah.
So I got the Dumbass of the Year award. You was talking about when Stone Cold Steve Austin come into OVW for the big show in Louisville Gardens, right?
Yep.
Do you know what we paid him that night?
Mm-mm.
$25,000.
Holy shit.
Wow.
$25,000 we paid him. Danny said, that's what we're going to pay him. I said, what? I said, well, shit, we'll see if we'll be here next week. But we end up making, $25,000.
Well, I thought maybe he wouldn't take it. He always gives Danny a bunch of credit for
Probably
Memphis and
probably
stuff.
because he paid him. No, Danny was helping me when Steve was at Memphis.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
Thought maybe you just
Well, what Danny said was, he says, we're going to give him that $25,000. And Danny goes, I'm hoping he'll give it back to us so we can get some more chairs and stuff.
Yeah.
It didn't quite happen that way. So when you get that run, you got to make it.
You know, with the contract with the WWE guys, we had 3 territories. You know that.
like different what? Like
We had Power Pro, Heartland, and OVW. And Cornette had me going. I beat Bradley, so I carried the Power Pro title. I carried the OV title, and I carried the Heartland at the same time.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, because we had the Cincinnati group was doing TV at OVW
Yeah.
on a different night.
I remember that.
Yeah.
I
Les
don't remember
Thatcher.
Power Pro. What was Power
Was
Pro?
that Memphis?
Power Pro was Memphis.
Oh, it
Yeah.
was? Oh.
yeah.
it was-
Cincinnati was Les Thatcher.
Yeah, it was Les.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We had Les on here about a month ago.
Ah, yeah. Steve Bradley was the champ at the time.
Okay.
God rest his soul. I think Steve passed.
Yeah, it's been a while. It's been
Yeah. I got to go over on him and be champ. He was a good wrestler too.
Yeah, I remember seeing him do a dark against Viscera once. He was always did shadow shows all the time.
The shadow,
So when he
the
went
battle.
and did the dark against Viscera, that was all shadow. He was
the shadow.
the
baby.
shadow got Steve Bradley that spot in that
All right.
in that match.
Yeah, but there's not much you're gonna do about Viscera.
Yeah.
I remember when I was going, they put AJ Styles out with me. I tried out AJ. They put AJ against me. He almost killed me. Almost broke my neck. And then they put the guy with the dragon guy from Japan. I forgot what his
Like
name
the Ultimo Dragon? I can't remember.
Ultimo Dragon.
Was it?
Ultimo Dragon, yeah. Tried out. They put me in a match with him, dark match. And then they let Steve go after that match. They asked me how he was. I said he was fine. I didn't go, he almost broke my neck. I just said, yeah, he wrestles good. And
Yeah.
that was that.
Speaking of dark matches, somebody asked, did you do some dark matches with Lesnar? Some people ask about your dark matches with Brock. How were they?
Oh, Brock treated me good. He never hurt me. Brock and I had an understanding, I never, we never hung out because he did different things than I used to. I was a married guy, had kids at home, never did the going out scene. But yeah, I wrestled Brock. He sold for me. I definitely sold for him. So yeah, I think I'm one of the only guys that beat Brock. I think it was Randy and I beat Brock and H2O Waterman.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, Rico, remember when we ran Hope, Indiana? They were lined up around the building. The first match was Brock against Ron Waterman. And his old hillbillies was going, I ain't never seen two guys looking like that in my life.
Yeah.
God.
Yeah, well, they were big. In fact, after they cut Ron, and now that I can't say this is gospel, but I heard Steiner was coming back, so they got rid of Ron because Ron looked like Scott.
Yeah, he did.
And then I turned Ron onto the power team because he was a Christian.
Right.
And he went for a few years with the power team. So he went right from there, and then he got a job with the power team.
Oh, wow. I didn't know
I
that.
turned him on to John Jacobs.
H2O, baby.
H2O Waterman.
Yeah, they did bring in some big guys at that time.
Yeah.
Hey, one thing we haven't.
Batista was huge.
Yeah. What we haven't hit on, you did start wrestling though in WWE. Then you and Charlie Haas were tag champs for a while, right? I mean, not being a manager anymore. You went into.
Well, I was the manager, and then I started doing a lot of singles.
Yeah,
because they saw I could pull it off. And then, like I said, Billy and Chuck split up, and then I went to 3 Minute Warning.
Yep.
And I said, that's enough, this and that. I think because Eki got in trouble down in Florida, and Vince suspended him or fired him or something, so he couldn't have 2 Minute Warning. So Rosie became shit with Hurricane.
Yeah,
superhero in training.
Yeah.
And then Triple H came up to me and said, hey, we want you to do this Adrian Street character. And I said, why me? He goes, because Vince thinks you're the only one that can pull it off. I said, okay, is Adrian still alive? Yeah. I said, then I got to go talk to him. I want to ask him what he did. I want to ask him if I can have permission to plagiarize his character, and stuff like that. That's his character. So Vince flew me to Gulf Breeze. I spent the day with Adrian and his wife, Linda.
Oh, shit.
And I said, we're going to have to bring this to the millennium because I can't do what you did in the 70s and mistreat the girl because I'll get shot in the arena.
See, really?
So I said, I'm going to bring it to the millennium. So when I got back talking to Stephanie, and I said, okay, I need a blonde bombshell to go with the character to do a dichotomy. Is he gay? Is he not gay? He's got a girl. He does all this funky stuff in the beginning, but then he'll kick your ass at the end. So I told them I need Jackie. And that was right after Jackie and Linda Miles effed up that match on Raw. Remember that?
Yeah. I don't.
So she was going down. Jackie was going down to OVW again to get released, and they were going to give me Melina from ECW. And nothing against Melina, she could wrestle and stuff like that, but I didn't need a wrestler. I needed somebody hot to dote on me, comb my hair, spray perfume on me, chapstick, tickle noses, that kind of stuff. So I kept saying, if you want this to work, I need Jackie. Then finally Stephanie gave in and said, but she'll never wrestle. I said, I don't want her to wrestle. I just want her to do her part, look good, look sexy, and help with the character. So she came up and it started to work. And then she really wanted to wrestle, and I would sit there before tapings, before house shows. She'd put on her boots or tights or knee pads and stuff. And the boys would just beat the shit out of her. But I couldn't step in and go, hey, guys, knock the shit off, because that would have made it worse for her. So I had to let her take her lumps, but she took them on her own, and then she ended up wrestling. I mean, we wrestled. She did a bra and panty match with Trish. Chris Jericho and her wrestled Jackie and I. We did that 6-man with the Dudleys and Dawn with Charlie Haas. And she got to wrestle, but she earned it. She went there and did it herself. So hats off to her on that part. So she proved Steph wrong there.
Yeah. Have you, I don't know, have you kept up with her at all? I saw a video of her that wasn't looking.
Yeah.
Real good right
I got
now.
sent that video and that broke my heart.
I really at first didn't believe it was her. I thought it was a rib. And then
I didn't think it was her either.
But I guess apparently it is. Hey, back to Adrian Street. Did you know Rip, one of his longest feuds was with Adrian Street back in the day?
No, I didn't. Yeah, we had it was me and Brenda against him and Linda. Very first night in for Continental, we shot an angle. We worked 26 weeks in a row in all the clubs around there. And then when that was done, I just left. I said, I ain't going to follow this act ever.
Right.
That was the best feud, and everything was called in the fucking ring. We never had one disagreement about anything. It was just two guys that was playing good guy and bad guy.
Right. See, but back then was good. You could do that because people knew psychology. Now it's all high flying, this and that, get your shit in. I can't even watch the product now. And Adrian came out with a video how he was upset on the way I took his character and how he didn't like Goldust. But I warned him when I said, listen, I'm going to bring this into the millennium. Yeah. This is 2000. Yeah. And so it wasn't like he didn't know. I was going to tell him I'm going to make some changes to it. And he had a wrestling wardrobe company, and for him letting me do his character, I bought all my stuff from him for a year. Everything I bought was from Skull Crushers.
Yeah, that's right, Skull Crushers.
Yep, and I bought everything from him for a year for letting me do a version of his character.
Wow. That was pretty cool, though. And then you and Charlie ended up being tag team champs for a while, didn't you?
Oh, the funniest thing, Pat Patterson. So I do Velocity with Jamie, and that goes over real big. And then the next week I do Charlie Haas on SmackDown. So I'm doing my gimmick and stuff like that. And Charlie's going all homophobic and stuff like that. And the end of the match is he gives me a suplex. I go up and over and I grab 2 handfuls of his ass. He grabs his ass, turns around, and then I plant one right on his mouth. Just bop. Well, he can't get back in the ring at the count of 10. So he's disqualified. So we go up to Canada or the next week, and Rikishi and Scotty 2 Hotty are holding the belts. And Pat Patterson comes up and goes, "You two need to hold the belts." He goes, I said, "But the match is already done. Show's already done." He goes, "Give me a second." So he goes back to Vince. He changes it. And now it's Charlie and I. See, Charlie has a mystery partner because Benjamin had gone over to Raw.
Yeah.
So Charlie has a mystery partner, and he's up for the tags, and it's Rikishi, Scotty. So now you've got me, Rikishi, and Scotty, who are faces, and Charlie is the only heel. And how are we going to get this done? You know, and that's where I left it to Rikishi. You know, and one of the biggest pops is, you know, when you do like a sunset flip, and then Rikishi smacks his ass to drop on you. Well, I did the sunset flip. He smacks his ass, and then I reach up and I smack his ass.
Okay.
Oh my God. And Charlie is like, you know, an unwilling partner. So he goes, tag me in. So I tag him in. And as he turns around, I pinch him in the ass. And then he turns around and I grab him by the cheek, and he, you know, I pinch his cheek and he goes like that. And then Scotty and him take off. And the audience was mixed. They were booing and cheering. But Taz and Cole put it over. Goes, I think they won. And we won. And then the next week we took on the Bashams. And that was a really funny match. Oh my God. Doug and Danny played it off so good. And, you know, after a while, a lot of the guys started to believe in their gimmicks and shit like that. That's what I didn't like. And a lot of them didn't want to work with me because of, you know, me doing my shtick.
Really?
And Charlie would tell him, why wouldn't you want to work with him? His stuff is easy. All you have to do is facial expressions. You don't do bumps. You just react to what he does. And then you get into the bumps. So Charlie was my advocate there. And he would get the guys going, yeah, you're right. So we'll do it. You know, Scott Steiner gave me a hard time. But he ended up doing it. Hardcore at first. And Bubba was the worst.
Oh,
I
really?
ain't doing that shit. I ain't doing that. And remember the 6 man at No Mercy? The Dawn, where Dawn was after Charlie and Jackie liked Charlie.
Was there
type thing.
Was there a table spot in there?
No. This
No?
is just a mixed 16.
Okay. I was
right?
thinking, go ahead with it.
Well, I think the table spot was before I turned the makeup character. That's
Okay.
2002 Survivor Series, where I yelled, "God damn it, Jeff."
Oh, yeah.
That's 2000. But I didn't know there was a microphone in the pole. He just was too slow on the spot. So I had to look like an idiot, and a moonsault was my move. You know, as a heel, I missed it. As a face, I hit it. But he's making me look like an idiot because Bubba's laying on the table. And how long can Bubba lay on the table? So I just yelled.
Yeah.
But it got caught. But nowadays, it's all been erased. So
You're back to a 6 man with Dawn.
yeah,
And,
with Dawn. So Bubba starts giving his attitude. I ain't doing none of that stuff. I ain't doing this. So the agent went back to Vince, and then all of a sudden on the loudspeaker you hear, you know, Bubba Dudley, come to the green room. Bubba Dudley, come to the green room.
oh, wow.
Guess where he's going? He's going to see Vince.
Principal's office.
Yeah. So he comes out. Now, I didn't think of this. He does. So during the middle of the match, somehow he gets Dawn, puts her on her knees, and he wants her to kiss him. So he's, come on, baby, come on, baby. Then he puts his hands behind his back and he's puckering up. And he thought of this spot, not me. So she sneaks over and tags me, and I come tiptoeing in the ring, and I kneel down right in front of him, and I'm rubbing in his head. And he's, oh, baby, yeah, baby. And I just go, mwah. And he's like, yeah, that's it. He opens his eyes and does the Home Alone. And he rolls out of the ring.
So wait a second. He went from not wanting to do anything to calling a kiss spot?
He called the kiss spot.
So what do you think Vince said to him?
Don't know, but it made him do the kiss spot. That wasn't even on the table, a kiss spot.
Yeah.
You know, with Charlie, to count him out, we both agreed, I got to give you a kiss, you know, so you throw up. So he was hurling outside of the ring and couldn't make the 10 count. And then he tried to come back in. I had to bring out the pink thong with the sparkles.
That was awesome. So did you mentioned the Basham brothers. Was it easier, maybe not easier, but more comfortable when you got to go up there and then wrestle other guys that had been in OVW with you? Did that make any difference at that time, or was everybody kind of just the same at that time?
Well, I've got ADHD and OCD. Everything has to be perfect. So I was always nervous before every match.
Yeah.
I don't care who it was, because I wanted it to go flawless. You know, and so whether, I don't care who it was, you know, I was always nervous going over the spots, because when you get to that level, they quit calling in the ring.
Yeah.
They quit calling it, you know, so I had to basically unlearn.
That's what you tell them, Rip.
You know, you have to unlearn what you were taught, and you got to follow these spots. So, you know, you got to make it work.
So did you ever think that when you were a USA babyface, good-looking dude, just winning the Gladiator, getting into wrestling, everybody loved you, the champ, that you would end up being Adrian Street type of, is he gay, is he not, with a bunch of makeup on?
Nope. Never thought of that.
Did you ever sit in the locker room getting your makeup on thinking, man, can't believe I'm doing this shit? Or did you embrace it and love it?
Nope. I embraced it and loved it.
That's awesome.
This is what he wants. I asked him, how far do you want me to take this character?
Yeah.
And I said, as long as we don't offend that lifestyle or show it in a bad light, I'll do anything you want. And he looked at me, he goes, strap a rocket to your ass and I'll tell you when to come down.
That's cool.
And putting on makeup, you know, I used to go in the bathroom and put on, because I had to use opera makeup, you know, with the glue and stuff like that to put the sparkles on so they stayed.
I don't know, but yes.
Well, no, I'm letting you know.
Okay.
Wink, 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 wink. I'm letting you know.
All right.
Rip, you can tell him later. Because he worked with Adrian. He knows what goes behind it. But you got to have that stuff stay on. If it gets in your eyes, you know, you can't be sitting there rubbing your eyes.
Right.
So, you know, I embraced it, and I would always think of stuff new to do every week, you know, and to make it new, not just do the same stuff. And a lot of ideas I actually got from the fans, because I would go out and sign autographs afterwards, and they would always go, hey, you know what would be funny? And I'd go, what? And that next week I would sit in the tanning bed and go, okay, yes, no, whatever, mix this one with mix that one. And then I would get things to do. So one day we're somewhere and I'm putting on my makeup because it takes me a little longer. And in comes The Undertaker. Now, he and I have a kind of a special relationship, you know. We were friends. And so he comes in and he's looking in the mirror and he's putting on, his eyeliner. You know how he puts that on and looks and stuff. And I'm putting on all pinks and powder blue and sparkles. And I'm sitting there and I can see him because he's this huge. And he's finishing his eye, he's going to the other eye, and he's kind of looking. And I see him looking like something's wrong. And I just looked over at him with his calm face and I said, "Hey, you can borrow some of mine if you want." He kind of closed his eyes, went like that, opened them, and looked dead at me and went, "No." And he turned around and walked out of the bathroom.
That is awesome. That's a great story.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Hey, well, we've kept you on here about an hour and 20 now. I told you at least an hour, so we're well over
How
that.
about all the questions? Did we get them? Because I can't read them.
We don't go through every single question in this chat. We'll do some people in green. We'll get some super chats every once in a while. Love American Gladiators. Great interview. I think a lot of people were asking about Charlie Haas. Actually, there were some people when I posted stuff before you came on. It seemed like that was kind of the hot question was you and Charlie Haas. Seemed like that was.
Yeah, I after I left, I didn't keep in touch with him. Jackie came in town because after I left wrestling, I went to Japan for about 3 weeks, and Bull Buchanan and I won the All Asian Tag Titles.
Oh yeah,
first night. And I was 44 then. And then I started thinking, do I really want to go to Japan every 3 weeks, 3 weeks a month to see the family? So finally I just said, no, that's it. And after I returned the belt, I went back and I went to police academy. And then I graduated #1 in the state and I got hired by the state. 6 months later, I was a state police officer and a part-time United States Marshal.
Oh, wow.
So I did that and I was working 5-6 days a week. So it kept me pretty busy. And then in 2016, I got sick and I had blood clots, one in each lung. So I had to medically retire from law enforcement. And that took me 3 years to get over. So now I work for a large insurance company here in Nevada called Bell United. I am a senior investigator field agent, and I do everything a cop does except give tickets and put people in jail. But I do risk management, accident investigation, loss prevention, loss recovery, and I work for like the house limos for all the hotels, 3 or 4 major limo companies, 2 tow truck companies, 2 cab companies. So that's what I do now. So I'm basically doing what I'm good at, but I don't carry a gun anymore, which is okay, but I still do the investigations and, do my reports every night and stuff like that and keep the drivers, in line and stuff like that. So I go to the doctor, not this Friday, but next Friday to see if he'll let me go back to work.
Okay. So pretty much full circle then, back to.
Yeah, basically, I didn't like the pressure Vince had on me. In fact, after I left the first year, he had Tommy Dreamer come back when they came to town. And he said, "Vince wants you back." I said, "Thanks, but tell him no. I got a good job. I got 2 good jobs. I'm a part-time United States Marshal and a state investigator. Come on. That's solid. Plus I got a retirement." So then the next year, Paul Heyman and Tommy Dreamer came back and asked the same question. And basically I said, "I guess, Tommy, you didn't understand what I said the first time. So tell him F no. No's no. You had me once. You should have kept me and you should have used me." Because what he does, he fires people and he brings them back for less money.
Yeah.
See, and the reason why I was let go And he said, because whatever he said is because I asked for $1,000 a week raise after 3 years and holding both tag belts. And the character was getting over, and I was just about to be on the magazine. So I just asked for $1,000 a week. Cheap ass said no.
Wow. And then that's when he let you go.
Well, I told him he had 90 days to decide. And the next day after he said no, I was in Japan winning titles.
Wow. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Was you with All Japan or New Japan? Was
Who
it
did-
Baba or Inoki?
Bob.
Baba. Okay, that's who I worked for. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I went 3 times and I couldn't stand it.
Yeah. I didn't understand it. I was used to working people like you, soft and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Boy, they're stiff. And I went, okay, I guess I have to let them know who I'm doing. So I brought back my old martial arts,
Uh-huh.
and old Muda got a few kicks.
Oh yeah.
And they kind of eased up a little.
Yeah, my first night in for TV, I was partners with Danny Spivey, and you know how big Danny Spivey is.
Yeah.
Them guys beat the shit out of us for TV. It was Tenryu and Hara so fucking bad. The next night, I went into my homosexual role, and Joe Higuchi said, Baba-san said, you do that every night. I said, you're damn right I'm doing it. Well, everybody else was having to half fight out there. I went out there and had the greatest time ever. Then I did this. Then I did the same thing in Austria and Germany and England. I just went in there. They said, "Can you work babyface?" I said, "I can do a poof gimmick." So I did that. So that was the easiest thing. Everybody else was working hard, getting hurt, and I'm going out there strictly entertainment, and that's the most fun.
Yeah,
That was the most fun.
That's what I love about the makeup character. It was entertaining, but in the end, when I had to turn it up,
Mm-hmm.
that's where the wrestling came in. And but it was funny. It made people laugh, and that's why I kept telling people. That's why I'm semi-main event all the time. Because you got all these serious guys, and they're trying to prep for the main event.
Right.
So I'm the comic relief. Makes everybody relax. So when Undertaker and Guerrero come out, or JBL and Guerrero come out, they're ready to have the intensity, back again.
Right.
So I got paid pretty good because I was on semi-main events.
Well, they want to have that downtime to change the attitude.
Yep.
And then the next match, right? So
Yeah.
if you go out there and do bomb, bomb, bomb. Next match is bomb, bomb, bomb. Then bomb, bomb, bomb. Well, hell, it's the same old shit. So we got to give them the buffet. I'll give them some beef. You give them some chicken. Vaughn will give them some turkey, and then somebody will do a fucking casserole, whatever like that, and we'll get everybody that they like. Whether it be lucha, spots, hardcore, effeminate, whatever's there.
Yeah. And I learned that at OVW. That's where I learned it, and that's why I used it. And it was easier on my body.
Yeah.
And then Rip says, whatever you learn at OVW, forget when you go up there and do whatever they tell you.
Yeah. But because you learn how to do it, because when you get there, they're going to change everything.
They did. I remember Cornette at St. Therese wouldn't let us talk before the match. We were in separate rooms.
Right.
And when we came out, we had to do a match.
That's right. That's the way it's supposed to be.
Yep.
I'd put up on the board this babyface against this heel, so guys would fucking talk, right? Then the babyface would go to the ring, and I'd send a different heel in. They didn't know what to do. Pretty soon they figured it out. They're going to have to learn to work and call on the fly. Then I said, but then you get a job WWE, forget it all. But you can save stuff if something breaks down then.
Well, you have to,
Yeah.
and that, and I relied on that. That I had a backup. So at least I got taught the right way. And then it was something to fall back on in case something goofed, What I didn't like is if somebody would try the same maneuver twice,
Uh-huh.
I would I would try to stop them before they went and did it again. You know, I'd go run in the corner and hit them, or jump up and give them a roundhouse, a hard one, and they'd fall outside the ring. So you don't do that twice. You're giving it away. You're telling the people you screwed up, because they don't know you screwed up. Only you and the guy you're wrestling know you screwed up. Am I right, Rip?
That's right.
See?
Oh, yeah, when you go,
Like it's like if this is the finish, you don't go into it twice.
No,
Change something.
change it. Yeah. So, yeah, like I said, everybody, and I credit Danny Davis and that whole crew for giving me the basics so fast. It was kind of like a fast food. I had to learn it really quick. And like I said before, this shut, these open. See, and God says, that's why God gives you one mouth and two ears. So you listen twice as much as you talk.
there we go.
So I'll leave you with that.
All right, man. Well,
Thank you so much for having me on the show. Rip, it's been great to see you. And thank you for helping me with my career. Thank you so much.
Well, you went out there, worked your ass off, had a great career, got to do what you wanted to do, continue to be Rico Costantino, the Greek guy that was really Italian. So what the hell, right? It don't get any better than this.
No, it don't.
Still being the king in Las Vegas, and you got to tell Vince McMahon no twice. So it doesn't get any better than that.
Yeah, I wasn't going back. And everybody goes, did you want to stay longer? I said, I stayed as long as God let me stay. And here it is, almost 20 years later, because I left in 05 and February of 05. So it's 04. So 19 years later, I'm still doing podcasts. People are still bringing up the character, and Vince tried to recreate it with Santino, and that flopped. So you can't do it. You can't do it.
There's only one Rico.
I'm glad. And thank God for the world. There's only one of me.
I still think I spelled your name right, though. Maybe, is that not right?
COS.
According to Wikipedia, I'm right. Maybe
No.
Wikipedia's wrong.
Wikipedia's got it wrong. And that page, I'll tell you what, that page is 98% accurate. And I have not added anything to that page. The only thing wrong, it said I was a Metro SWAT officer, and I wasn't. I was a North Las Vegas police officer. And if you remember that old show, Nasty Boys, yeah, I was the original member when there was only 4 of the Nasty Boys. Yeah, when it first came out. Because I was a North Las Vegas officer when I was 23. And I was there for 85, 86, 87. And they hired a new chief, and I didn't like him. So I threw my badge at him and said, goodbye. I quit, and I left.
Guy knows what he wants, Rip.
Yeah, if I'm not happy at a job, I'm not going to make people unhappy. I will go to where I'm happy doing what I'm doing. I've done it my whole life. You can tell by Wikipedia. I've done this, I've done that, I've done this, I've done that, I've done this, I've done that.
All except for your name. Although it does spell it a different way if you start reading, and then it goes back to spell it the other way again. So that's my fault. I take responsibility for that. Actually, I'm going to blame Rip. Rip was in charge of production today. He did all the thumbnails and all the backdrops. He did all that today.
Well, it
was his first time ever, and look what happened.
Well,
a misspelling.
It was the wreck that was on 465. It took me all that time to get here. Excuse me.
All right. Well, thank you, sir. We'll let you go. Really appreciate it.
Yeah. The kids want to say goodbye.
Oh, okay.
Everybody's saying goodbye. Yeah. I see them all. They're all located right here. They're hams.
Say goodbye to the fish, Rip.
Oh, goodbye, Oscars.
Goodbye. Greatest show ever. Thank you.
Rip.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, guys. And thank
Rico,
you
baby.
Hey, this is Rico. Hey, Rico, I need if I get to Vegas, because I went to Cauliflower Alley, I don't know how many years ago.
Right.
But then I want to get a hold of you and hang out or whatever. So
Yeah.
we'll have to have that. You had to send me the kayfabe phone number or whatever.
I've got it. I'll give it to you.
He's got it.
Yeah,
Give it to Rip.
I will. All right.
Yeah. Rip, if you want to talk or chat or something anytime, just give me a call.
I'm one a younger, more attractive man, so I guess you're still there. So what the hell, right?
I turned 62. I'm 62 now.
Nice.
Shoot, you're an old bastard.
Yeah.
He ain't much younger than you, Rip.
I'll be 70 in a couple of weeks, so that'll be cool.
Wow. Yeah, and I got new car parts, so I can't wait to try these out.
Oh, hey, on your hip, did they do the front or the side?
I had to have a total reconstruction. So they had to put a socket, a plastic socket in the socket.
Yeah.
They had so that's plastic. I got a porcelain ball and I got a titanium rod hammered into my femur.
That sounds rather sexual, doesn't it?
Yeah. Well, actually, I told the doctor, I said, if there's any titanium left, give it to me because I'd like to use it.
Oh my boy. Well, Rico, I don't think we can top that one.
You guys are gonna have a good time in Vegas, man.
Yeah.
I'll show you around, Big Rip.
All right, this will be the greatest ever. Hey, thanks for being on here, Rico.
Thank you very much for inviting me.
All right, Rico, baby.
God bless you, Rico
Thank you.
Costantino.
That's right.
Have a good one, gentlemen.